Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Broken Ranks podcast. I am your host, Connor. As always, I am here with the wonderful Rich. Well, we have a new one. Everyone say hello to our wonderful skull collector himself, John. John, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing well, man. Living the dream, dreaming about skulls.
There we go. And Rich, you hanging in there today? Doing good?
Yeah, feeling much better than yesterday. And some of you may notice that we are, in fact, down a normal broadcaster. That is Carlos. It is actually Carlos's birthday today. So everyone wish Carlos a happy birthday.
Yep.
It'll be a bit
Feliz
delayed.
cumpleaños, muchacho.
What? Oh, yeah, I got you.
Feliz cumpleaños, muchacho.
Yeah, I figured it out. I heard it the first time, and then my brain was like, what? And then my brain ran it back as I said, what was that? And I'm like, oh, I get it now. Like as I was saying, what was that? Yeah, like my brain was delayed.
So we got the green light from birthday boy. He said, go ahead and record. We'll be fine. And here we are now. We got John. We're going to do a great time. We got lots to talk about today. We are going to be doing a book kind of overview rather than a proper review, so to speak. So the way I've looked at it, at least, is I don't want us to be the trend of everything gets leaked today. As people probably know, the Flesh Eaters and I Haunt book has been leaked today. We don't want to chase that and then start reporting it as much as it is, because we're not a group that kind of fiddles off of knee-jerk reactions themselves. We like seeing the points. We like seeing like early data, that kind of stuff, and then we can actually talk of, oh, this works better than we thought it would, or this doesn't work as well as we like it to. So I kind of like the idea of we're going to probably hit the new books about a month post when they're announced to come out. So we're about at that point. I think it's been 4 weeks since we've known Khorne's going to come out, and we've had the rules in front of us. It's been live for 2 weeks, and we've known back in July, I think, like late July, we've known what they were doing. So we're going to kind of just go over what definitely changed. So we're going to hit all the battle traits. We're going to hit the enhancements, all of them, including the Scourge of Gyran ones, just to keep it uniform. We're going to hit that new War Scroll that came out for the Deathbringer. And we got a few that we thought were cool / impactful with their changes, because a lot changed in this book. I think we are now past the Index or Index Plus era of battle tomes. We are getting solid rewrites.
Amen.
But overall, we're going to look at John's list that I asked him to write up. John, is this something you're going to be playing probably overall when you start getting back into Khorne? Because I know you've been playing Daughters, at least for the League.
Yeah, I've been playing Daughters for League, but the joke I tell everybody when I play them is I say, when I get sick of not doing enough damage, I play Daughters. And then when I get sick of all my stuff dying too easy, I play Khorne. Mm-hmm. As I got back into Doc for a little bit, just to take a break from Khorne, because at the time I was a little corned out, and they were kind of riding the struggle bus with the new season. And then, of course, right in the middle of this league where I'm playing Doc and having a ton of fun with Doc, they dropped the new Khorne stuff, and so now I'm a tad frustrated because I want to be getting reps in with the new Khorne stuff, but I have to dedicate all this time to Doc, which is fine. I'm having a blast with Doc. It's a lot of fun, but that list is definitely that's immediately kind of where my mind went as I was perusing the tome, which isn't, honestly, and I'm sure we'll probably talk about it later, it's not really a huge deviation from where Khorne lists were before, which I think might be a slight problem with the new book. But I think it's a pretty interesting list that I think could do well.
Mm-hmm. Very excited to talk about it. And before we, I think, dive in properly, John, how about you introduce yourself a little bit? Give us your background with Warhammer and give us, that bare high level look at how you feel about Khorne in the past since we found it and what you've been able to fiddle with.
Okay, so I have a long history with both gaming and Games Workshop. I'm 43, and I got I got Hero Quest. I want to say back when I was 10, and that kind of gave me the itch. I was already into Tolkien. I was already into Dungeons and Dragons, but there was just something about Hero Quest and those old plastic sculpts that really just grabbed me. And then I think it was 6 months later on my birthday when I was 11 or 12, I got Warhammer Fantasy Battles. I want to say it was third edition. It was the one with the high elves versus the orcs and goblins, or just goblins. It was night goblins, where they didn't even give you the war machines and the monsters. It was just cardboard cutouts with a little stand, and so that was kind of started my journey. So I mean, it started real. I was like fourth or fifth grade, and me and my buddies at that point didn't even really play with the rules. We just were playing toy soldiers, literally. And then I got a little bit older, and as I think fifth edition came out, when it was the Lizardmen versus Bretonnians, then I started actually playing, and had a lot of fun with it. Then in high school, I caught the 40K bug, and I played 40K quite a bit in high school. And then early 20s, I just dropped out of it altogether, until I was in my early 30s. So about 10-year hiatus. I decided I always wanted a Chaos Warriors army, so I decided I was gonna buy a bunch of Chaos Warriors stuff. And spent a lot of money on this Chaos Warriors army, and not knowing anything really about where the game was or what the state of the game was. And that was during the end times.
Okay. I played. I started back in 6th edition fantasy, so I know exactly the area you're talking about right now.
Yeah, and that was right in the end times, and I was like, so I spent all this money, and I was like, oh, this game's going away. Like, oh, this is great. And then AOS 1 dropped, and I bought it, and it just didn't really. I was like, this is weird, and the rules. I mean, there's no points, and it was a turnoff for me, definitely. And so I built some of the minis from the original AOS box, and then it just sat for many a year until I ran into one of my buddies I used to play 40K with in high school and play fantasy battles with in middle school, and he was like, "You've been playing anything?" And I was like, "Well, I bought the AOS starter, 4 or 5 years ago at that point, whatever it was, and I didn't really do anything with it." And he's like, "Oh, there's a shop." I lived in Hobart, Indiana, and he's like, "Oh, there's a gaming shop in downtown Hobart." And I'm like, "Well, I live in downtown Hobart." He's like, "Some guys get together there and play AOS." This would be like at the tail end of second edition AOS. He's like, "You should check it out." And then that got me back into gaming. And then so I for a while there I bounced between a lot of different armies, and nothing really stuck. And then finally, Khorne came out with the third edition book, I think it was, that piqued my interest, and I brought them to a GT. It was my first ever GT, and I finished 3-2. And my final game, I played Nick True, and he brought KO. It was back when KO was all Thunder spam, and it was actually a lot better game than I thought it was going to be. And he was talking me up afterwards, and he's like, "You want to get good at this game?" And I was like, "Yeah, I would love to get good at it." He's like, "This really your first GT?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Because you played very well." And I said, "Well, thank you." He goes, "But if you really want to get good at this game," he goes, "Do you like Khorne?" I said, "Yeah, I just had a blast." He goes, "Play them for a year straight. Don't play anything else." And I said, "Okay." I said, the really seasoned, good players telling me to do something." And I played exclusively, I think I played one game that was not Khorne over the next 22 months. It was just nonstop Khorne. And I had a lot of highs, and I had a lot of lows with Khorne in that time, more highs than lows. And I had a ton of fun, and I learned a ton about the game. So they were not like my first army or anything, but it was like the first one where I like dedicated myself to learning like all the ins and outs of it, and like becoming a better player. So
That's awesome. I'm glad that Khorne was the one to do that for you.
yeah, and then, not to ramble too much longer, but then then when fourth came out, I decided I was corned out after the 20 months of playing nothing but Khorne. So I played Doc for a while, but the problem was Doc was hot garbage. At the beginning of the index, it was not good. It was fun, but it wasn't good. So I was losing more than I was winning, but I was having an okay time. And then I decided to do a little dip into Slaves, back when Slaves was kind of busted, and it just wasn't for me. I mean, it was powerful, and I won a lot of games with it, but it didn't scratch that Johnny itch. It didn't. It was like a zero skill army basically. And if you played against somebody that was skillful, it could actually be quite difficult for you to win. As I found out, I lost a few games I thought I was going to win easily, just because the other guy was crafty, and I was like, well, this isn't for me, and it was really frustrating because. I had like 10,000 points of slaves because when I got back into AOS and I bought when I got back into Warhammer and I bought all that Chaos Warrior stuff, I had always collected Slaves of Darkness, and so I had put all this time into painting Slaves of Darkness because I was going to take it to Adepticon. And then at the last minute, I was like talking to my buddies, and I was like, I don't want to bring this army to Adepticon. I don't want to bring slaves to Adepticon. So my options are, I mean, I have other armies, but really my options were either I bring Doc, which was not good competitive really, and or I bring Khorne, but I haven't played Khorne in like 7 or 8 months at this point, like not a single rep. And they were like, well, just, you bring slaves, you'll do the best with slaves. And I was like, no. And then so I sat down and I started looking at some things in the Khorne book, and I was like, or the Khorne index. And I was like, well, what if I do this? What if I think this list is pretty good actually. And I got one practice game with it before ACON, and I tabled my buddy's monster trucks pretty easily. And I was like, okay, I think I got something here. And I had one rep with Khorne going into ACON. I ended up 3-0 day one. I had two really tight games that I won, but that was the nature of the beast with Khorne. You're going to grind out till turn 4, turn 5, and then you're going to pull away because you're going to deny tactics, and that's going to be it. And then so I came into day 2 full head of steam, and I faced OBR, and I basically tabled the dude, and I ended up losing by 2 points because I made some foolish mistakes. And then round 5, I ended up playing Scooter. I played Scooter, and
man.
his 60 Chaos Warriors and his Bellacore, and I did not have the damage to deal with that. And my dice, starting about midway through game 4, my dice totally abandoned me, and it was like the absolute worst. Of course, I wait till I'm playing Scooter to have the worst dice of my entire life, and so we and him were laughing about it. It was so bad. There was one point I did a rally, and I had the enhanced rally, so I was rolling like 9 dice, and I didn't get a single wound back. And he looks at me and he goes, "Re-roll it." And I go, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Re-roll it." And I go, "I can't do that." And he goes, "F it, dude. They're all cocked. Re-roll it." And I re-rolled it, and I got 1 wound back. Okay,
man.
it was that bad. So I ended up going 3-2. Felt like I should have definitely been 4-1 at the very least, but I fumbled the bag a little bit, and I was beating myself up. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think I took 42nd out of like 200 players. I won Best Blades of Khorne easily, and I went back and I actually looked at some of my texts with Justin actually Copel, and he kind of helped me talk me through what army I should play a little bit. And I remember me and him both came to the agreement like a week before ACON. He's like, we were both like, well, if you haven't, if you go and you have fun and you finish 3-2, that you have nothing to be upset about. And that's exactly what happened. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my goodness. All right, Rich, I'm gonna make you talk as we dive in to this stuff. Let's hit the battle traits really quick here. And so those changed slightly, very slightly.
I like how you said you're going to make me talk, and then you just started talking over. You're like, no, not yet.
No, not yet. Now you can talk.
Now I can talk. All right, so we'll start with the Blades of Khorne battle trees. I'm just going to read this off the thing because I haven't had a chance to read them at all. So this is actually just going to be my first time looking at them. I've watched a couple of battle reports with them, so like I'm slightly familiar, but not like the actual decision tree eludes me still. So, Blood for the Blood God is the first one. It's a passive. Each unit that is destroyed, and that's enemy or friendly, generates 1 Blood Tithe point. Blood Tithe points are used to unlock Blood Tithe abilities. That is then followed up by Skulls for the Skull Throne. It's just once per battle round, start of any turn. Pick a Blood Tithe ability not yet unlocked and spend the appropriate Blood Tithe points. That ability is unlocked for the rest of the battle. It is then Blood Drenched. Once per battle any hero phase, you can use this ability once at least half of the total units in both players' army rosters have been destroyed. For the rest of the battle, ignore positive modifiers to any save rolls made by friendly Blades of Khorne units. All blood-hungry weapons have the following modifiers based on what unit carries them. If they are a bloodbound unit, they have crit mortals. If they are a non-monster Khorne demon, they have +1 rend, including companion weapons. And if they are a monster Khorne demon, they have +1 damage. That is a spicy meat the bowl. But you have to, again, have half the units in both armies killed at that point.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know how often that happens.
Do we know how that interacts with things that bring units back?
It just says the starting roster. I think it's just the starting army. So like res units don't count if I remember correctly.
Okay.
But I'll tell you right now, this is one of the things that I don't like about the new stuff. So I know we're not on Warhammer Weekly, so I'm not going to be super negative about a lot of things. And I think there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of good stuff in the Khorne book too. But there are some proud nails that I would like hammered down. And like one of them is so. In essence, other than the new Murder Lust, which I'm sure we'll talk about at length, we don't start really with any battle traits. We have to jump through all these hoops to get our battle traits, and this is probably our most powerful battle trait. And yeah, there's other ways to get access to it other than the half of the units being dead, but that's going to come on so late. My fear is, again, I haven't gotten to play any, but my fear is that it's going to happen so late in the game most times that it's not going to matter because either you will have lost or you will have won at that point. That's my fear. Maybe in a really tight game, it's going to give you, it's going to give you that little edge that you need to overpower, your opponent, but I just think it's going to come active too late. And another thing that they've done with a lot of these traits that I don't necessarily agree with is not only do we not have a lot of our battle traits active, or really any of them active other than Murder Lust at the beginning of the game, is that they come with penalties, right? They come with okay, well now you can't benefit from any positive save modifiers, I believe in the instance of this one. And I just don't, I mean, it's whatever. I mean, I don't think it's going to matter either way, but it feels bad that I have to be penalized for using my battle traits. That's kind of my view on it right now. Could change. I get some games under my belt. It could change, but I don't really care for it.
I can see that. So for Blood Drenched in particular, because that's kind of what this page ends up being. In the Khorne games that I have seen, it seems like if it does come up, it's probably a round 3 kind of deal. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that it is any hero phase, so you're not just committed to start of the battle round. Well, I'm off by 1 unit, can't do anything. So you can get to that. I feel that it has a bit more benefit than negative, just because as much as positive saves are, crit mortals on like 20 blood warriors who already are going to have like a 3-up armor save, probably a 5-up warden save. I'm not really that concerned about.
Oh, and to be clear, not
to get like an all defense. Like in that instance, like, I don't need to all out defense.
I mean, if I could trade all out defense for crit mortals, I mean that's not even a decision, right? I mean you trade it for the crit mortals, but I'm talking about more like of the philosophy of there has to be a negative side to, you know what I mean, to my most potent rule. It's just kind of, it's a little feels bad, but it's not the end of the world just because the benefit way outweighs the penalty, but also just because, like you said, when I'm gaming this in my head, like just like you were saying, I don't think you're going to get it reasonably before turn 3 at the earliest. So, and most games are decided right around, bottom 2, top of 3, somewhere in there. Usually most games, unless it's a really good game, you know what I mean? It's pretty much already decided at that point.
Yeah, I think
have a chance there.
My issue with Blood Drenched as an ability is that I feel there are 3 game states where this goes off, and only one of them is really a feels good moment in general. So the 3 game states where this goes off is you as the Khorne player are losing very heavily, because half your you were making up the majority of that. Half your units have died. Some of your opponent's units have probably died, but like you're the one making up the majority of it. Do you really get the benefit at that point? Like, it depends on what units you have, but like if you're making up the majority of half the units have died, you don't have a ton of units to use it with. The other two are you are so far ahead that you've almost tabled your opponent. You've lost a couple of units, and you get this ability, and it's a win more kind of scenario because you already basically murdered most of their army. The scenario where this really comes into play and is a feels good moment is when you are both having a knockdown drag out brawl and have both lost a good portion of your army, and that's where like this buff becomes more of a it's more of a game changer at that point. In the other two scenarios, like you could come back from having most of your army killed, and that does feel good, but like I would say that based on nothing but like my understanding of how most of these games go, with very little input on what the Khorne army does, just reading this off the cuff says, if I'm losing, this is not going to help me win. In most cases,
yeah, and that was much more detailed and eloquently put, but that was basically my sentiment as well. It's either not going to do enough to win you the game if you're getting blown out, or if you're already winning, it's just a win more mechanic. The only time it's really going to be super impactful is in a knockdown, drag out fight in a very close game. And it's just like that push that you need to overpower your opponent, which is great. But yeah, I mean, that's the only instance where I think it's really going to be that impactful. Other than that, it's just I still lose. Or I just win more than I'm already winning. And the other thing is a lot of the guys in the Khorne community were debating when the rules first leaked, well, does this mean now, because it's kind of at odds, as funny as it sounds, it's kind of at odds with the whole blood tithe mechanic, because it's like, okay, well, it's like, so what do I do now? Do I game it so and list tailors so that I have less units, right? So then that's less units that have to die overall, which would, presumably get there quicker. Or do I take more chaff because it's going to die easier, but then that's more stuff that has to die, overall to get me to that magic number. So it's kind of like a thing you almost, I mean, I'm sure guys are going to figure it out, what that sweet spot is to try to get it to activate quicker, if that's even a viable strategy. But it's just, it's kind of like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, especially in a season that's really encouraging you to go more MSU and everybody to go more MSU.
Yeah, I see where that kind of comes up, but from my experience with Khorne in the times that I did play it and seeing how it's played now, I think MSU kind of leans really well for them, and you like your chaff now. Blood Reavers, Claws, Fleshhounds even. You love them because they're either going to swing above their weight class or they're going to die really fast, and you don't care because they're like 90 points.
Yeah, absolutely, and I agree. But like I said, for every piece of chaff that you have, every MSU unit you have,
yeah, it adds to
it puts Blood Drench a little more out of reach, So,
do we find that balance? And hopefully, I think in the 3 to 6 months, Khorne players will probably find the.
Oh, they'll figure it out.
Here's our chaff. Here's our reinforced. We want blood drenched for these blobs of stuff. Here's the things that are going to go die to help us get our blood drenched.
Yeah.
Right. It'll get figured out for sure.
I've moved us on to the slide that has the decision tree, the blood tree, the tithe tree. Yeah, I'm not sure what to call it.
We have a hierarchy tree. That's what it is. It's beautiful. So this was fun to make. But as it is, there are a bunch of traits that you can unlock for Khorne now, and we always start with Murderlust. So let's just hit Murderlust really quick. It is a once per turn army reaction when you declare any charge ability. So this can be used for a counter charge. Roll a die.
Huge.
You can replace a dice roll in your charge roll with that value. If you choose to, inflict D3 mortals to the unit after the charge ability resolves. I think at first glance, everyone was like, this is trash. And then it was pointed out, this goes into counter charge. And now and you can choose to use it. You don't even have to. You just always get to have this reaction for a unit and don't even have to use it if you want to.
This is
If
all
you want to
upside.
avoid the damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this
yeah.
is a fantastic change for Murderlust overall.
100%. And I've been on record for months now as we were building up to once they revealed Khorne on the roadmap. I said, and this is coming from a guy that, how did I get that 3-2 at Adepticon with an army that had like a 42% win rate at the time? Okay. I got it because I said, I'm going to go into this tournament and I am going to milk and abuse Murderlust for all it's worth. And that is exactly what I did. And it felt horrible for my opponents. And I felt kind of dirty doing it. But that was all Khorne had. We were Murderlust the army. We didn't really have anything else going other than the other combo that I used, which was the Wrath Bloodthirster and the Unfettered Bloodthirster Prized Beast combo, which was pretty good. Okay. So I've been on record now for months saying I have no problem if they do away with Murderlust. You know, if you want to get rid of it, that's fine, but you have to give us other stuff because that's literally all we have. And I think that not only they've done some tweaking on the scrolls to account for it, but also they lowered the points on pretty much everything across the board, which was the other point I made. Is if you take Murderlust away, you have to give us a points discount, right? So I've been on record for a while now saying I'm totally on board with getting rid of Murderlust. And just like you said, when I first read Murderlust, I'm like, okay, this is like almost a nothing burger. And then you start thinking about the implications. And you're like, oh, no, wait a minute. Actually, this is amazing. Because it actually is. It's actually a really, really good ability. With the only caveat being, and again, it's not really impactful. But why do we have to take D3 damage? that's like, why must all our battle traits... I mean, it's a nothing burger, right? I mean, it might as well not. You know what I mean? It doesn't even really matter. But
For
I
most
can
things,
just imagine.
it might kill a guy. Like, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, exactly. But it's like, why must we be penalized for using our battle traits always? But at the same time, like, I can just envision, and now that I've imagined it, I'm sure it'll happen to me at some point. I can just imagine like a combat going like wildly awry, and then I end up losing a unit to the wound, and I took one wound from Murderlust, and it cost me the game. I could see that happening now.
I mean, but there is a
okay.
counter argument to that though, where you got to think about the fact that you are trying to build up to half your army being dead, or a quarter of your army being dead, and a quarter of your opponent's army being dead.
I want it to die.
I want it to die. So like, is D3 Mortals really that bad? Maybe not.
You're right.
But like,
you're right. It's actually good in certain scenarios. Because I've already kind of. And I'm not the only one. Other guys, there's plays that where you could do to not where you really want to make sure you get a unit dead. Okay, there's a couple things you could do to hurt them before they even get in combat, and Murderlust is one of them. So yeah, it actually has some utility, but yeah, like I said, just philosophically, it's just like, why do they always gotta, why do we always gotta take a downside on ourselves?
Yeah, so
it's great. It's really strong.
I'm okay with this inflict D3 mortal wounds if you do use this ability. I'm not as much behind the no positive modifiers to your save on your big final thing. I feel like the big final thing should just be all upside. Like it's not
to lean much more.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't want. With this one, I feel like this is a fair downside to the upside. I feel like the half the army, half the board being dead. I get where it doesn't really matter for some of them, like especially since there's a lot of wards flying around there now. In Khorne, like there's a lot of 5-up wards that I've seen. The Blood Warriors, I think, get 5-up wards when they're. Is it contesting objectives or contesting objectives you don't control?
They are contesting
an
objective
that you do not control, which actually works out reasons.
And then your demons are your foot demons, the Bloodletters are 6-up ward? Question mark?
Yeah.
And then your Bloodthirsters are 5. Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, you've got a lot of wards floating around where like not being able to benefit from your save modifier isn't that big a deal, but like I feel like for that one specifically, I feel like there shouldn't really be any downside. But there are some abilities in here that don't have downsides, like no penalties to you. So why don't we talk about some of these next ones? So with Murderlust, that doesn't cost you any Blood Tithe points, but once you have some Blood Tithe points, you can do what was it called? We go back to the page. Skull's for the Skull Throne. To pick a blood.
Yeah, once
So
you start spending that.
yeah. So once you get blood tithe points, you can start spending on either divine scorn or punish the pacifist. Those both cost 1 blood tithe point, so easily picked up right after your first unit dies or your first opponent's unit dies, whatever the case may be, in that very next hero phase.
Or your first manifestation you banish with the altar.
Oh, that gives you blood tithe points?
Yes, so the altar can banish. You can make up to, I think it's a D3 worth of manifestations that are within 18 inches of the altar. You get free banishment rolls for those, and if you get them, if you banish them, you get blood tithe points.
That's hot. We love that.
Yeah. So
Nice.
it is possible to start racking this up very early.
Yeah. So the 2 abilities are Divine Scorn, which is once per turn, start of any turn. You pick up to 3 enemy wizards or priests within 6 inches of any friendly Blades of Khorne units. Roll a dice, and on a 3-up, you reduce their power level by 1 to a minimum of 0 until the start of the next turn. This is a great ability. The only thing that's a downside to it is that it's only 6 inches.
This one is cool, but you kind of have to force. You're putting yourself in a scenario where you might be killing them anyway, so they're going to have power level 0 by the fact of you killed them.
Yeah, I mean, so
and also, sorry, also,
no,
my only, I believe that is the one that takes you on the alternate path from the path you want to take, because you want to get to that big revel in battle. That's the one you want, and I believe that one takes you on the other side of the tree, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one you can only go to Murder Mystic or Glorious Combat.
So and you want Revel in Battle. That's the one you want. And before we go too far into the woods on the specific abilities, I think we'd be a little remiss if we didn't discuss one of the problems with the Blood Tithe tree is that you only get to pick something once a battle round. So what is going to happen there is, I'll paint a picture for you. If I don't go top of 1 and my opponent doesn't engage me, I'm a whole battle round behind on my Blood Tithe progression.
Yeah.
Which is a big problem.
That's going to happen for sure. I'm not sure how people have been looking at it. I know early on, like an AOS coach's video, we were talking together about this. I think that was something he kind of covered. He's like, turn 1, you may just have Murderless, but reading the Skull Altar, that's kind of where you might be able to get away with against some armies. You could have a round 1 possibility just with the Skull Altar and stuff, but yeah. It's hard to pull off. I think round 2 is probably where you're going to see the vast majority of your Blood Tithe points being starting to be spent.
And like I said, and that's a problem, because that puts you a whole turn behind in your progression, because you want to get to the good impactful abilities as quickly as you can. And if you can only pick once per battle round, and your opponent goes first, doesn't engage you, nothing dies, you don't get any Blood Tithe, then in your turn nothing is still dead in your hero phase, which means you can't buy anything. And then so in essence, as far as the Blood Tithe progression goes, in battle round 2, you're still in the battle round 1 state, which is definitely a problem, because when they first leaked this stuff, with the way the Warcom article was worded, I had hopes that maybe you could actually buy multiple tithe abilities at once, because that would mitigate this problem, right? Because then if you can't activate a new Blood Tithe ability in battle round 1, maybe by battle round 2 a bunch of stuff has died, and then you could just double up, right? If you have 4 or 5 Blood Tithe by then. But then upon reading the book, I don't think that's the way it works. So so basically the play now is going to be to make sure you're progressing through the tithe correctly, is going to be, you're going to have to go top of 1 in most instances, and then you're going to have to yeet something forward that's going to die easily in order to get the tithe clock running the way that you need it to run. And if you can't do that, you're just going to be on the back foot.
Do we still have a Bloodthirster that has a 3d6 charge?
It's 3d6 drop the lowest, and it's only for demons. Basically, what you're gonna to try to accomplish the top of turn 1 tithe, you're gonna either need to take Claws of Karanak, because they have a great war scroll in general, so you probably want to take them already. But they have a 6-inch pregame move, so you can get them super close, and they're squishy, and you can get them into combat right away, and they're probably gonna die. You could also, the route I'm gonna try out is you can also just take a Bloodstoker, give a 10-man squad of Reavers run in charge, right? Have the Slaughter Priest injure the Reavers to get an extra chant point, so they're already going in wounded. Then auto run them 6. Then use the Murder Lust to do more damage to them, so they're even weaker. And then whatever they get into is more than likely probably going to kill them at that point, because there's only going to be 5 or 6 models left.
Yeah, and that might be a good way to just start anyway, because that's probably the best sub the 300 point way to just start your tithe points rolling.
Exactly. Yep. Precisely.
That's also something to consider. It's like that costs you less than 300 points, and you.
Well, yeah, and it's really good, and I'll talk about it more when we get to the list, because you already want the Bloodstoker, you already want him. So even if you're not just doing it, you're not just including a 100-point hero to be able to do this, because he's just good in general. And with Blood Reavers only being 80 points, who cares? You know what I mean? It's a tithe. It gets your tithe clock running the way, on the rhythm that you want it to be running on. I mean, it's a very reasonable sacrifice to make sure that you're progressing through your battle traits the way that you want to be.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of, let's look at that.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. Let's look at that second part of the tree. So if you don't go Divine Scorn, you go Punish the Passive, which is the one I've been seeing happen more than Divine Scorn.
It makes more sense.
It is a ability that happens in your combat phase only, and you pick every unit and manifestation that is not in combat, and then you roll a die, just one for the whole thing. On a 1 to 2, all of the units you selected take a mortal wound, but on a 3-up, it's only your enemy's units, and that is chip damage that you're okay with in every sense of the word, and it fits Khorne pretty well. It's like you want to be in combat, and you're people who aren't in combat for whatever reason you might have. But more than likely not, you're only punishing the enemy. And that chip damage every round from 2 onward of yours, that's like 3-4 mortal wounds onto every single unit. That's pretty gross.
Yeah, it's gross, and I think even more importantly than it is a good ability, but even more importantly, that gets you on track to get Revel in Battle, which is the one you really want. You want that one, I think, more than just about any of the others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's so much value to this ability. Honestly, it's kind of unfortunate how good Punish the Pacifist is, because it makes Divine Scorn look silly in relation.
Exactly.
It makes Murder the Mystic almost never going to come up, which is fine, because Murder the Mystic is almost never going to come up anyway, because 4 enemy manifestations, unless you're looking at
we'll just dive into Murder the Mystic really quick. So it only happens in your hero phase. You pick 4 enemy manifestations on the board, and you make banishment rolls, and if you succeed in banishing them, every enemy unit within 3 inches of that manifestation takes D3 mortals, which that's cute.
Yeah,
but
it's cute.
Yeah, you're not going to do it. One, because I think you do want to go Punish the Pacifist more, not just for Revel in Battle, but because it's a good ability, and you could still go into Glorious Combat or not, which we'll talk to in a sec. But also, compared to Divine Scorn, Punish is so good. Fighting it just once, I immediately saw why it was just your combat phase.
Yeah,
that would be horrifying to see happen every single combat phase.
No, I mean
terrifying.
All of your 5 health heroes that are your buff pieces.
They're dead. Like they are dead.
They're going to die from chip damage alone.
They better have wards.
Yeah,
they better have wards.
Yeah.
Now, I have a question. What army can have 4 manifestations?
Anyone that brings the Forbidden Power, and I think Morbid Conjuration.
Okay.
I think those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's
Oh,
there's
and goblins. Goblins have 4.
okay, cool. I was like 4. Like I don't. It doesn't happen that often that I see 4 manifestations on the board, especially given that you get a bonus to the banishment roll too. So like that can be very impactful. Like there are certain situations where you want to take Murder the Mystic just because you're looking at an opponent that has 3 manifestations on the board that you get a +2 to the roll every time you banish them.
+2, plus you might have. Does your own contribute to that? I forget.
Yeah, I think it does. I think it does.
If you have manifestations out, it actually subtracts from the number. When you
Okay.
Yeah, it's the difference in manifestations. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
That's fine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That bonus also leads into why I don't see Murder the Mystic ever being taken is because of the Skull Altar. The Skull Altar gets to do this D3 times, which is more than enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get Blood Tithe out of it.
Can you banish your own manifestations?
No, I think it's just enemy.
Yeah, I think so.
Because that'd be a tricky little one that you could do to get some Blood Tithe points.
You're right, but I think they've decided Khorne is not very tricky, but we're gonna make sure that the things they want to do, they're gonna be good at doing.
I think they could have a little bit of tricky, just a little.
They're still tricky. They're still tricky. Demons.
They still got it. They still got it, but
demons got tricks.
All right. So
speaking of tricks,
right on to the next one.
Glorious Combat or not. My personal favorite, I think, is a good like round 2, round 3 one if you can get to in round 2. It's 3 Blood Tithe. I don't think is difficult in round 2, but it could be hard if you haven't started. Subtract 1 from. It's a passive where you subtract 1 from hit rolls from all your enemies' shooting attack. That target. Perfect. I don't want to get shot while I'm running across the table against KO.
Yep.
Like, that's a blanket, just decent passive. If you have the Blood Tithe points for it and you're not in the position for Revel of Battle, you go for it.
And on the plus side, against the armies that are going to be shooting you, you've probably stacked enough Blood Tithe by this point because they started killing you in round 1. Like,
yeah, I think shooting armies will just hand you some of those, so that's a good one to do.
Yep.
But John, I want you, since you've hyped this one up, I want you to walk us through.
Revel in
Battle. Revel in Battle. That is the one that turns off the weapon abilities, correct?
Other than Companion, yeah.
Other than Companion, yeah. I mean,
when enemies charge you, their attacks don't have any abilities.
I mean, Chef's Kiss. I mean, as someone who for a couple months now has been playing Carthusa with her broken prayer that turns off weapon abilities, it is amazingly feel bad for your opponent. It is so powerful. Any way that you can do that is I mean, I put that turn off the weapon abilities on 20 Sisters of Slaughter, which innately have a -1 to hit. And Patrick double activated his Chosen and swung Bellicor, and I still had 2 Sisters of Slaughter left. And to be clear, they're only 20 wounds on a 5-up. Okay, you put Revel in, but you activate Revel in Battle, and you put Blood Warriors into anything, and they ain't going nowhere. Okay, they ain't going nowhere.
They're gonna charge something. They're gonna hit it, and then if you didn't have weapon abilities to start, like when that combat started, you don't want to charge it because then you're losing all. You lose +1 damage, you lose +1 rend, you lose whatever you get. And it's like
you're running away.
It's like I don't want to fight strong.
That anymore. It's such a great ability. I mean, it just gives. It's just, and the thing about it is it's army wide, so your whole army is gonna get so much tankier, and then like in particular the Blood Warriors, which are probably the best scroll in the army. I mean, it's just they love this. They just absolutely love this because it disincentivizes your opponent to charge them. So your opponent's like, okay, well, I'm gonna sit on this objective and make you come to me because I would like to still have this unit be alive. And then, so I'm going to charge on an objective. I'm probably running Bloodbound Warhorde, so they're going to get +1 to hit. So it's going to be 60 attacks. Oh wait, it's actually going to be 80 attacks because of these Wrathmongers. and you know what I mean. It's going to be crit auto wounds. It's going to be crit auto wounds, and then if you have anything left afterwards to clap back at me, yeah, you'll still get your weapon abilities because I charged you. But guess what? I have a 5-up ward, so
Yeah, it's
sick. It's nasty.
nasty stuff.
Yeah.
Love some Revel.
Yep,
Reveling,
it's amazing.
Then we get the ultimate abilities are we buy them once and they're super good. Slaughter Incarnate and then Cleave Wide the Grin of Khorne. We'll start with Slaughter Incarnate. Add 1 to attacks when you make a charge for your melee weapons. So straightforward. It's good. Don't
Oh,
care that
yeah.
Like, and you get that from if you went Glorious Combat or not. Mystic, you can go for that. I don't think we have to really talk much about it. +1 attack is good in an army that wants to attack.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, in the right circumstances, you could get Blood Warriors to what? 80, 100, 120 attacks from a 20 block.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that.
That's a lot.
That's Witch Elf number. That's Witch Elf numbers with auto wound. If you don't have the Blood Drenched, it's still auto wounding. 120 attacks auto. It's Witch Elf numbers.
Yeah.
And you can get them on 3s and 3s or 3s and 2s. You're
Then
shredding
we have,
anything.
Then we have Cleave Wide the Grin of Khorne. This is the one where you get if you went Revel of Battle or Glorious Combat. Passive +1 to hit. Just all the time. Don't need to even charge. You just have a blanket +1 to hit. Congratulations, you're finally hitting on 3s.
Exactly. Well, there's so many other ways to get it from the book, but yeah, exactly, yeah.
The blanket way of getting it is
the blanket way of getting it's always best.
I mean, there's also a lot.
I think that has value because there's so much -1 out there.
Yeah.
It makes makes the mortal side cringe. It's one thing I've looked at. I'm like, what's the weakness of the mortal side of this book?
Yeah.
If you're not a hero, you hit on 4s.
On 4s, exactly.
No, that was going to be my point to this one. Where this is, I think this is the one that you probably want to take. Even though add 1 attacks is great, I think that there are so many scenarios where you're going to be -1 to hit from something. There's just so many ways to get -1 to hit. That having a like having being able to stack it, like being able to stack +1 to hit from another source of this, it's great. It's the one you want for sure. It's the one you want.
Also, I mean, you can get big packs of bloodletters if you choose to go the demon route. They're hitting on 2s. You know what I mean? And that's scary because they can stack attacks too. They can't get to the number of attacks that Blood Warriors can get, but they can get up there with the attack number through various means. So I mean, it's just +1 to hit. There's army wide. There's nothing to not love about that.
Now, does this work on your companion weapons or no?
+1 to hit, yes, because it's your rolls, not your actual characteristic.
Yep.
What? I'm sorry. I don't. My understanding of companion weapons is fatally flawed. So like I have to ask questions.
So companion weapons cannot be affected by any abilities that would influence their statistics. So you can't change their hits, you can't change their wounds, you can't change their rend or like. You can't give them an ability that says I do this unless it affects it. I mean, if this doesn't affect companion weapons, I could be wrong. I think it works like it does all out attack, but
I'm certain that it does because I was in a tournament early on in 4th with Doc, and I'm not gonna name names, but I was fighting somebody, and my Doomfire Warlocks, the hooves from the horses, they should have gave the killing wound to a monster truck. But then my opponent told me, oh, well, no, the +1 doesn't affect companion weapons. And then I'm pretty sure I found out later that it actually does.
Yeah, I know all out attack does. All out attack does because it calls it out specifically. This one doesn't.
That's what if it doesn't, then maybe, but the companion weapons you have are skull.
No, yeah, it was just,
like,
it wasn't like...
No, it is minor, but you absolutely might be right, and I'm talking out of it.
Well, with Skull Crushers and Blood Crushers, it's actually huge because the mount attacks do D3 damage. So it's kind of a big deal. And I'm pretty sure... I know it works on them. I know it does. Maybe it calls them out specifically, but I think all out attack in general does work on
No,
them.
all out attack for sure. My question was cleave wide the
Yeah.
grain of corn because I don't
Right.
think because it doesn't call out for companion weapons, so I don't think that it does work on companion weapons. But again, it was more so a passing thought rather than like I think this is bad because it doesn't work on.
Right.
It was just
Yeah.
something that like twinged my brain because I
No, I think you're right, Rich. I don't think double checking it and checking that Alakak does specify. I think you are right that back companion weapons, which I mean,
why are all my
it
lights
sucks,
off?
but I'm not that sad.
No, it's not bad.
No,
It's
yeah.
not a problem. It was just this is something where I'm going to go on a tiny bit of a tangent while I turn my lights on.
Mhm.
I was wrong about companion weapons for the longest time. Until Sunday, I played Andrew O'Reilly from the old Broken Ranks Discord. We played. He used a whole bunch of vampires, and I was using my Idneth. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to all out attack because I can't do anything to my shark attacks. And he's like, all out attack works on the shark attacks. I'm like, say what now? I, for the longest time,
Kind of a big deal.
the entirety
He's
of
used to
4th
playing
edition.
Blood Kings. He doesn't have companion weapons. He's not used to this.
I mean, I really don't have that many companion weapons. Although, my fourth edition new GHB list for Nurgle is all flies, so it actually does come up now. But like for the longest time, I thought that companion weapons don't get all out attack, so I just never all out attacked with anything that had good companion weapons. And now I feel kind of dumb. So that's why I thought of it because I was like.
Yeah.
It was a thing that I was being dumb about, so I needed to know. All right.
So I think overall with the traits, before we dive into our battle formations, I think for Blood Tithe, I think it's really cool what they've done. I like just unlocking abilities better. Maybe we can tweak on how fast you can do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But other than that, I genuinely think this is really cool. I think this was much better than I'm going to sit there and spend points to do Murder Lust all game. And then maybe I'll do something else, but I'm probably just Murder Lusting.
Honestly,
Yeah, I mean, and I'll say overall, I love the flavor of the new rules. I love the verisimilitude. I love so much about them. It feels much more corny than it's ever felt. Yuck, yuck. But the only thing that gives me pause is again, it's a timing issue, and also we've put in all this effort to try to rewrite the book and make it play more unga bunga, but you're still doing mental gymnastics because if your timing on the blood tithe table gets off, you're gonna be on the back foot for the whole battle. So it's still, even though they've done things to encourage more aggressive gameplay and made them fightier and killier and all that great stuff and more combat oriented as opposed to movement orientated so much, it's still it's still a thinking man's army, which is cool because I like that aspect of it. But they just gave it's a new flavor of a thinking man's army than it was before.
Sure.
But we got some formations of battle that kind of still keep you in a thinking man's position.
Mm-hmm.
But I love most of these. I don't think there's too much of a bad one. There might be a least good. I don't think there's really bad ones, especially when you include the Scourge of Gyran, our soggy formations here. But we'll cover the book ones because I think the overall changed entirely. I don't think there's one that maybe Bloodbound is the same as it was before, but
Khorne Legion too.
Khorne Legion and Bloodbound were the same. Brass Stampede and Murder Host drastically changed.
Strictly changed. Yep.
So we'll hit Khorne and Bloodbound really fast since they stayed the same. Khorne Legion's reaction when you activate a demon unit, pick a Bloodbound unit that has not fought wholly within 12. They get to fight right after. Straightforward, cool. We love chain activations.
Mm-hmm.
This combos with other reactions, so you could do something like 3-4 activations at once if you have everyone kind of in a pretty chain. Like Bloodmaster, activate Bloodletters, trigger them to trigger a hero that can trigger a Bloodbound unit.
Yeah, I actually took Khorne Legion to ACON, and it was because the one thing I learned by playing Doc early and fourth, because Doc snakes in particular, because I've always up until recently been a snake player, is that you had playing the activation game and being able to manipulate activations is just so huge, and so Khorne Legion was great then because you're always kind of an old corn, old flavor corn. You're always lacking a little bit for damage. Like, okay, if you watch Season of War, anytime Jordan plays corn, he always gets frustrated at some point in the battle and says, the damage is just never quite there. He says it every single time, and it's true. So, by being able to game the activation rounds with Cornate Legion, if you, it's a little bit tricky at times, but if you can pull it off, that can give you the damage that you need when you need it. You know, especially like you said, if you really get fancy with it, you can get 3-4 activations off, and it feels totally OP. But even if you could just activate a bloodthirster and then a 20 block of blood warriors, or 20 bloodletters and 20 blood warriors, it's gonna I mean your damage stocks are gonna go through the roof. So
as a Lumineth player right now, I completely know abusing activation wars.
it's fun.
We activate 2 all the time.
It's fun. Yep, it's fun. That's what I love about elves.
Yeah, they've got activate 2 all the time. They've got strikes first. They've got make your opponent strikes last.
Yeah.
They've got all the tricks. But
We
love those tricks.
Yeah, Doc Snakes. I either get my fight first, or I probably give you fight last. So
have fun.
Yep.
Bloodbound Warhorde, again, really quick, passive for the Bloodbound boys. When they charge, it's not even when they charge. It's just add 1 to hit rolls when you target an enemy unit that's contesting an objective you don't.
Same as it was before. Same as it was before.
We love
Sorry.
it. No,
Oh,
you're
it's
good.
great. Huge W, especially for Blood Warriors. Again, stacking with on your big turn where you're trying to take those objectives from your opponent. Not only am I going to get +1 attack, +1 to hit, but also whatever's left when you fight into me. Guess what? I get a 5-up ward now, so my 2 wound, 3-up save models are way tankier, and I probably just completely messed your unit up. So maybe you kill 1 or 2, depending on how much you got left standing and what it is. The only reason, so if you're playing demons, obviously you don't care about Bloodbound Warhorde. But the only reason why I think it might get eclipsed is just because Soggy Goretide, I think, might actually be better for reasons that we'll talk about when we get there.
Mm-hmm. Let's hit the 2 that have changed overall. Brash Stampede. This is my personal favorite because I like watching the charge numbers go up.
Mm-hmm.
As a person who just has dabbled in Iron Jaws and still plays them every now and again, and I love stacking my charge bonuses to high heaven. Add X to your charge rolls for friendly Blades of Khorne units, where X is the amount of friendly Blades of Khorne cavalry and monster units that have successfully charged this game. You have that Unfettered Fury along with Scarbrand, maybe. This is, or maybe a unit of Blood Crushers. This is the easiest +2 to charge for your entire army. Because you charge. Even with Scarbrand, it's like +1 to charge rolls, because you charge with Scarbrand. Who has natively just 3d6 charge.
You also have the option for, there's a couple of cavalry heroes, yeah? There's like 1 or 2?
Not in Legends, yes, there's 2.
In Legends, yes, they got rid of them. They're in Legends now.
Are they? I thought there was one that I looked at in here that was a cavalry hero. I'll look here.
The Blood Throne, I think, is a war machine, but
Blood Throne is a war machine. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It wasn't the Blood Throne. I'll find it. You guys do your.
Oh, good.
Maybe there might be one, but I know if you're talking about the Mighty Lord on Juggernaut, that's gone, and if you're talking about the Herald on Juggernaut, that's gone as well.
No, it wasn't those 2.
All good.
No, sorry.
I think this is one you take if you have Scarbrand. Honestly, I think this is the Scarbrand one because it just reads give your entire army +1 to charge because Scarbrand charged.
Yeah, but the inherent problem with that is Scarbrand sucks. So,
damn.
I don't think you're taking Scarbrand.
I found it. It was not.
And I say that
as
not
a huge
Scarbrand fan.
It was not a hero. It was Skull Crushers that I was looking at.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
just look.
I think both
so
flavors
fancy.
are okay. I think both flavors are okay. That if you are bringing them, this might be a reason to do it. Because you get one, you just gave your entire army a better charge.
Yeah. If you're the I want to run Skull Crushers or Blood Crushers or Bloodthirsters or a combination of the three, this is a viable option, and it's certainly better than the old Brass Stampede. But I mean it's kind of like it's like a niche case. It's only for guys that are going to be running Cav.
If you're building into it,
Yeah,
this is great
it's
because
good.
it's just
Yeah.
the core that you're bringing, the monsters, the cavalry are going to get in, but then the more that get in, the better the rest of your benefits, including the other.
Yeah. If, like I said, if you're Skull Crusher, Blood Crusher, Bloodthirster guy, and that's your thing, and you love them, and they're not bad, you know what I mean? It's a viable strat. Yeah, it's great. It's the one you take. It's a no brainer in that situation.
I think it's an easy one to build into. I think that's where I was going with mine. Is like it's a very easy one to build into, and it benefits, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Murder Host. This is for our demon friends. It's the end of your turn. Each demon unit that is used in this turn and is not in combat gets to move d6 inches, but you can't use that move to end in.
Of the four that we've talked about so far, this is the most underwhelming, in my opinion. Now, that's not to say that it's bad. It's just
okay.
Using it is hard.
I understand that. I understand that take, and this is where we start getting into how Khorne is still like a big brain, technical, Johnny army, because the demons have some movement shenanigans, and they have a lot of movement shenanigans, and if you can game them just right, they just become insanely fast. Because if you look at the Bloodletter War Scroll. The bloodletters, I believe, they get another pile-in, don't they? If they're not in combat, if they killed, they get another pile-in. So bloodletters and demons in general with murder hosts, they become very, very, very quick. You can do all sorts of tricks and stuff like that. I honestly haven't looked into it too much because I'm not a big demon guy for the most part. I'm more mortals, but there's definitely ways that you can game that tech. So it does appear underwhelming because it's just at the end of the day, you read it and you're like, oh, this is just a BS movement or whatever. But my understanding is it makes them very fast, and there's some very interesting things that you can do with them.
Sure.
But,
My concern with this one is just that they have to not be in combat at the end of it. Now, granted, maybe that's just me not understanding how killy Khorne is in this new book, but like from my experience of Khorne before this, there were very few times that like Khorne wasn't ending in combat unless it was like wiping an MSU cavalry unit or something.
They've always struggled for damage.
Yeah, I did double check the Bloodletters. It's actually a combat phase ability that you use, and it's if you are in combat, you can move. So you get a pile-in before you pile.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yep.
You effectively have a 6-inch pile-in but you get a out of sequence fight pile-in.
Yeah.
That lets you technically you can leave the combat range of a unit but end in the combat range of a different one.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
So you could it's not hard to imagine a scenario where you could charge a chaff unit, bypass it, murk a foot hero or murk a soft target, and then you get what I mean. You get another move. You know what I mean. So you're all over the place.
There's a lot. This feels like a Carlos kind of battle formation when I think about it. Where it's like if he had this for monster trucks, where he would go in, kill the unit he goes, and then he gets to move again.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That's so much a Carlos thing.
And thinking about like the fact that this also includes obviously Scarbrand and the Bloodthirsters, like there are definite uses for it. Don't get me wrong. I honestly wish it was 3 inches.
Just a flat 3.
Flat 3.
Yeah.
Because
I'd be okay with that.
That would be preferable.
Now the question is it like is it considered like a run? Because if it's considered a run and you've got like plus to run in charge, like maybe there's some shenanigans where you can make it not as swingy.
It's just a move. Like you just move d6 inches. It's not considered anything. You just get to move your models d6 inches.
Yeah, I feel like d6 is a little bit inconsistent. Obviously, it's a d6 roll. You know,
you're gonna average 3, 4 at the most part, but sometimes you're gonna roll the 1 and the 2. Yeah. Feel really bad, but then you're also gonna roll the 5 or the 6, and you're like, sweet, I'm moving my movement again.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like,
for sure.
And that's what I think. That's where Bloodletters are jumping for joy because they're 5. They're charging 2d6, maybe 3d6. Take the best one you want. Take a chip damage. Move 3 inches. Pile in 3 inches. Kill the thing. Move d6 inches again.
Yeah,
like, they're
that's what I mean.
I see the deceptively fast very quickly.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. It doesn't seem like much when you first glance at it, but then you start doing the mental gymnastics and you start adding up all the extra movement, and it's like, well, wait a minute, this is actually kind of nuts.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Then we have our 2 Scourge of Gairan, our Sagi. Once per turn, your hero phase the army. Pick a friendly non-hero demon and bloodbound unit. While they are wholly within 12 inches of each other, you add 1 to their rolls for their combat attacks for that turn. Or until the end of your next turn. That is, it's okay. I don't know if I would take that over Khorne Legion. It's a different Khorne Legion because you don't have to start within 12. You just have to end within 12. So you could pick 2 units, I guess, on opposing sides of the board, and then get them wholly within 12 to have this go off.
Yeah, you can do some.
Same with Khorne.
You can do some converging fights for them, but you also run the risk of them not making their charge rolls.
I don't love it. Yeah. I don't love it. I don't
cute,
see.
But
I think
I don't see why you wouldn't just take Khorne Legion, but
yeah, I mean, I think even if we're talking about if we're talking about like the value of Khorne Legion versus the value of Tournament of Skulls, I think that fighting one after the other is vastly superior to having +1 to wound to both units.
Yep, I agree.
+1 to wound isn't a bad buff to have.
It's not.
If I have to pick it for a formation, I think I was stuck between.
Yeah, because if I'm running, if I'm running mortals, I could either take this formation and mix in some demons and get some +1 to wound action, or I just take the Realmgore Ritualist for 130 points and get a big bubble of +1 to wound.
Yeah.
No brainer.
Yeah.
No brainer.
Do you still do that? I thought she moved.
Yeah,
it
used to be +1 to hit. Now it's +1 to wound.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, you're right. I would probably just end up doing Bloodbound anyway.
Yeah. Any
speaking of
reasonable
Bloodbound, speaking of Bloodbound, the one that I like as well, on top of Bloodbound, Goretide. Once per turn army in your movement phase, pick a Bloodbound hero and 2 non-hero Bloodbound units. I believe it's wholly within 12 inches of each other, but I think you just do it. Add 2 inches to their move characteristic for the rest of the turn.
Slam dunk. Remember when we added Field Sergeant and Khorne benefited vastly from it? What if we took Field Sergeant away, but then just made sure that Khorne could still do it because it was so good for them?
The same thing happened. Same thing happened to Lumineth.
We got Field Sergeant as a command trait. Yeah, I take that every time.
Oh, because it's so good. It's literally their best command trait.
Minimum 4-inch redeploy to 2-inch move for all my infantry.
Yeah, no, I run the same thing on my Score Seeker, and it's like, oh, you mean my River Blades get +2 movement? Yeah, okay. You mean my Blade Lords get +2 movement? Oh yeah. You mean my Wardens get +2 movement? Oh yeah. You mean my Heroes get +2 movement? Sure.
Yeah. I've looked at it, I'm like, huh.
I mean,
how many speed of hitches did I get off? 3? Cool. Half, like my RB average now.
I mean, personally, for me being a more Mortals guy, and I like I said earlier when we were talking about Bloodbound,
choice, man. Like, you're spoiled
I mean, it's like, do I go with the Bloodbound Warhorde, or do I go with this because they're both really good? You can't go wrong. I think Gortide is probably going to win out a lot of times, just because that if you're running mortals, you're running a lot of foot sloggers. They're slow to begin with. That +2 to move is going to be huge on those key units. Because okay, listen. So I have my Blood Warriors and my Wrathmongers. I have them hug Bloodstoker. They're moving 7 instead of moving 5. He gives them run in charge. The Blood Warriors move 7 on their normal movement. They auto run them 6. That's 13 inches of movement. Oh, and then they get 3d6 charge drop the lowest. And they're just going to cover an insane amount of territory and get where you need them to get. And that's so valuable that it's probably going to be worth it in a lot of situations to just miss out on the +1 to hit, especially if you're trying to take an objective and you're gonna get the 5-up ward on the Blood Warriors anyway.
Yeah, and that's not even including Murderlust and all that. Take 3d6, drop the lowest.
Yeah, including
but also re-roll one of those dice if you want, and just take some mortal wounds on the side. It's fine.
Also, I'm just gonna re-roll my chart.
Yeah.
And then I'll add my die.
Exactly.
I'm gonna add my die. I add my dice. Oh, I don't like these parts. I'm gonna re-roll it. Cool. I rolled high enough. I don't need to add my dice anymore. I'm good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's
beautiful.
There's so much.
God, I love glazing Murderlust even now.
It's so good. It's still so good.
It's still great. It's still great, and they did a good job with it because it's great, but it's not raging NPE for your opponent.
100%.
It's not a gotcha.
It feels so. It has the fluff, even the damage feel like. Or this is the last time I'm going to glaze it. We're going to go to her. Taking the damage feels narratively flavorful. You're like, I'm abandoning everything.
Sure.
I am hitting myself so I can move faster. Or I'm pushing my body. My friend's head explodes. Don't fucking care.
I'm tearing all 3 of my hamstrings. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's do it. All right, let's hit some heroic traits because I think these are also.
Real quick, I do want to say that of all of the sub formations or the battle formations, the one that it's unfortunate because the one that I like the most thematically is Tournament of Skulls.
It sounds cool. No, I absolutely get it. It
cool.
sounds cool.
Not only it fluffs out itself. It's literally like it is a tournament of skulls between the mortals and the demons. Who's gonna do better? And they're both putting in the extra effort to wound. It's such a great thematic thing. If only it wasn't so shit.
Especially when compared to a battle formation that does the same thing but better. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just
Them's the breaks, man. They hit them all really well. It's just that one hits the least.
Yeah.
Heroic traits. Let's go. Let's talk some heroes getting really cool stuff. So this change, I think all 3 of these change. Because we have none from the previous, right, John? Like we have nothing.
They all changed.
Awesome, love it. Let's hit the first one. Magical score. I've already had this. I haven't had this one happen to me, but I like it. Subtract 1 from casting rules and enchanting rules for enemy wizards. Increase within 12. You're gonna get within 12 of these at some point. You're just gonna make dupers. This is the distance that the battle trait. The blood tithe ability should have been is 12, not 6.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it should have been 2 wizards at 12 inches rather than 3 at 6, or conversely 1 at 18.
There you go.
1 at 18 is
making the Oonga Boonga people do math. Don't.
I'm just saying. Like it should have been one of those other 2 options that was more useful than 3 at 6 inches.
Yeah.
Like 3 at 6 inches? But I'm getting sidetracked. Back to heroic traits.
Frenzied Taskmaster. I think this is the one that's going to show up the most because you have the most utility out of it. It's your passive that you use in your movement phase. You pick a friendly infantry or cavalry within this unit's combat range. That unit can move d6 inches, but if they end their move within combat range of this unit, inflict that many mortals to that unit, and you cannot use this particular move to end in combat.
What? I don't understand a single word of what you just said.
So if you have a unit that's within this hero's combat range, They can make a D6 move,
Okay.
but if you don't move out of combat range, you take mortal wounds.
Gotcha.
Great.
And you can't end in combat with it because you could like
Right.
move the
Yeah.
unit, be within 3 inches of
Yeah.
something, and then move this guy. You can't just roll the 3 up and then get in combat.
It's great because, again, let's take a look at the Bloodstoker scenario with the Blood Warriors. Okay, so not only are they getting in Gore-Tide getting a 7-inch move, a 6-inch auto run, they're also getting more movement on top of that with the Murderlust charge. Okay, they're going to be, the mortals are under those conditions, which aren't going to be hard to pull off at all, are going to be insanely fast.
We are unfolding John's top of one how I get my goddamn blood tithe point plan. Like we have it's like Slaughter Priest, stab, Bloodstoker, Frenzy, Bloodstoker ability, go.
I read
Exactly.
the ability from the PDF, and I understand it now. It took me a minute, but I get it now.
It's word salad.
It's gonna be worded. Yeah, it's word salad, and I worded it probably worse, but.
No, it's fine.
I don't like copy pasting if I can help it.
No, yeah, it's fine. I had to read it, and I was like my brain's too cooked from work, so like there's no way I was getting it. I had to read it again.
The last one, the fun one. I'm calling this the most fun one. Skull Collector. End of any turn. If any damage from attacks made by this unit was dealt to an enemy hero, and that hero was destroyed by the end of this turn, add 1 to your attacks characteristic of this unit's melee weapons for the rest of the battle, and it is cumulative. You can keep going. This is fun.
Perfect.
This is fun.
It's tons of fun, and if you're the Bloodthirster guy, it's just the one that you take. It's just the one you take.
More attacks for the Bloodthirster.
Let's pump these Bloodthirsters up to 10 attacks. 5 damage each.
Especially now that we're seeing death pretty much line themselves up to have recurring heroes come back to life. Like, this is perfect when you death.
Yeah, it's great for Bloodthirsters. It's fun.
Yeah, Bloodthirsters, with anyone that allies that new Black Coach regiment or renown that got leaked, it's like, your heroes are mine.
Yep, put it on a Wrath Thirster and let's go to town.
Beautiful. But you can't have a hero without some artifacts.
Artifacts!
2 of these stayed the same, kind of. I think. Right, John? 2 of these are the same?
Yep.
We have a brand new one?
Yep.
Did Choleric Contempt have the D3 mortal aspect to it before?
I think they added that. I don't think it had it before. But other than that, it's the same. It just gives you the unbind.
Yep, we'll start with Choleric Contempt, unbind. If you successfully unbind, I had this happen to me. I took 3 mortals. I didn't like it. I immediately wanted to kill the guy that did it.
That's rude.
I did not enjoy getting Choleric Contempted.
I like it because, one of the things that I've steadily noticed in Khorne since 3rd edition, through the index, to the index, to the soggy stuff even, and then now to this, is that our magic tech, anti-magic tech, just seems to keep getting more and more neutered. So I like it because you don't have a lot of unbinds, you don't have a lot of spell ignore stuff anymore, so it just gives you another unbind. And on top of it, if you do unbind something, you can do some mortals. Maybe if you get the Blood Tithe ability where you're wounding everything, every hero phase, every one of your hero phases, and they've got a couple wounds left on them, and then one of their little foot guys, and then you unbind the spell, and now they're dead. It's nice.
Not only that, but it also combos really well with the heroic trait as well.
Make a minus 1 to cast, so it's easier for you to unbind.
Easier for you to unbind it. Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's just great.
Yep.
You love to see synergy between artifacts and heroic traits, because it always feels much more fun when you're able to get those synergies going, compared to like when you pick 100%. Just the best traits. Obviously,
Yep.
Oddly enough, speaking of synergies, the next one, Butcher's Blade, I think goes really well. I mean, Argath goes Skull Collector as well. But I think Butcher's Blade also just helps with this. End of any turn, pick each enemy unit that had damage allocated from attacks made by this unit's combat attacks this turn. roll a D3 for each unit. It's a dirty D3. On a 2-up, you inflict that many mortals.
Yeah.
I
Combos
don't
really
know how
well.
often you split attacks with, like.
Yep, combos well.
It honestly, splitting attacks probably it's not going to happen too often for your foot heroes, but where it's going to happen all the time is your bloodthirsters.
Yep, exactly.
Bloodthirsters, your blood throne,
Yeah.
I think too, because you get a crap ton of attacks with the blood throne. You could send them 3 different ways, and it's as long as you did damage with the hero, that unit is going to do. It doesn't matter what weapon you used.
It's good.
Yeah, but tried and true.
Only
Argath,
one
the King of Blades. The King of Blades, and it does the same thing it's been doing. Enemy heroes cannot make ward pulls while they're in combat with this unit.
It's amazing. It's always been amazing. It's not as amazing as it was in third, because in third it wasn't just heroes.
Yeah, it was just if you were stuck with it. It just said no words. Period.
No words. I played
this guy.
I played a dude at a GT against his Nurgle, and he was crying tears for 3 rounds, because that's about how long it took me to table him, because he didn't have any of his ward saves. It's great. It's great. It's great on. I like it more on Bloodthirsters and maybe some of the foot dudes, but it was great. I took it to Acon, threw it on a Thirster that had prized beast, and it was hero and monster clobbering. It was hero clobbering time, hero monster clobbering time, and I mean, basically my practice game before Acon, I basically tabled a monster truck army just with the Bloodthirster of Unfettered Fury with Argath prized beast. Every turn he killed a monster truck in my combat phase, and then in the enemy combat phase he killed a monster truck. It's chef's kiss. It's great. It's a great artifact.
I mean, all 3 of them are great artifacts, and they all have their uses in various scenarios.
They're all good.
I don't think there's a one you leech onto. Like Argath is a safe one. Collar Contempt is a safe one. Butcher's Blade is a fun one that works, because you're gonna do damage, and just having an artifact that says do more damage. Sure.
More, please.
More? You want more?
Choice. You're spoiled for choice. They're all three are viable. All 3 are
Curse
good.
the times we got to buy extra artifacts, because good lord, I think if you could, Khorne would be buying all. They would find a way to just jam them all.
Well, to be fair, their AOR has a free artifact that you give too, doesn't it? But you don't get to take.
They don't get to take these.
Yeah, no, you don't get to take any of these though.
You have your own.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be sweet if you could.
It'd be sweet.
Because that army's struggling. They need that.
Yeah, Gorchos the champions, they really need those.
Sucks. All right, let's talk about their prayers real quick.
We like praying. So we have 2 prayer lores. We have the book one, and then we have the soggy ones, top and bottom respectively. Book one's completely changed from the old page. I think. Was Blood Boil part of it?
It was, but it did something different than what it does now.
Okay. It's like D3 damage.
So, I don't remember, but I don't think it was as good as that. But regardless, we got let's look at our unlimited one. So this is the one that everyone's going to be able to do many times as they want. It goes off on a 4. Uncontrollable Rage. Pick a friendly unit wholly within 12. Until the start of your next turn, you get Blood Drenched. If the chanting roll was an 8+, you ignore the Wide-Eyed Brutality.
Honestly, this is probably the reason that it has the
penalty. Yeah, that's true. This is how you know that like Blood Drenched Raw is not. They know it's not going to come on until late because
you don't need it.
They gave you a back door to get it much easier. Yeah, you gave you a back door to get Blood Drenched early on select units because they know it's going to come on too late, which is fine. I mean, this is amazing. This is the reason why you take 2 to 3 priests, so you can have multiple cracks at the apple. Dream scenario, you take 3 priests, but you probably only take 2, but you might take 3, and maybe you get it off all 3 times, and you get 3 units, blood drenched, right at that critical turn, turn 2, you know what I mean? And you're wrecking face. I mean, it's amazing.
Yep. I think this also, it's the perfect one for the Blood Throne, because the Blood Throne can become Priest 2, doing 3 portals to something. And then you just go Sacred Rites into this. And it's a mini Cruthessa, where you're like, here's your coolest battle trait, and it's going off at such a high level, you ignore any bad part about it. Go to town.
Exactly. Yep.
Blood Throne, the new Blood Throne is pretty much a Cruthessa when you get the ability off.
With extra steps, but yeah.
I'll take extra steps to get to that.
Oh yeah, she's busted,
ability.
Man. Trust me. I've been running her for a while now. She's busted.
Is there a restriction on Blood Throne? Like, is there a restriction on how many times you can take a?
I think it is. I think it's once. I think it's once per army.
Yeah.
Once per turn army.
Yeah. Once turn.
No.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Yep, once per turn. Nope.
Yeah.
I read it correctly. It was once per turn army, your hero phase. Pick a friendly unit within 3. Allocate 3 damage. You don't get wards for those. Oh no. Add 1 to your power level.
So that's. I mean, to be fair, that's an easy take to build that blood tithe. Throw it on a unit.
Yep.
I'll kill 3 Blood Reavers to give them their crit mortals in this elaborate plan to get my 1 blood tithe point.
No, but like if you have a hero that's like 80 points, like say it's like you've got a hero that you're just you're like, this isn't going to give me much benefit in this game. You could literally kill it with Blood Frenzy, the heroic trait that we looked at, and this. And kill a single hero in your turn to sacrifice to the tithe gods, so that you've got it, top of turn 1 that you can spend that point, or bottom of turn 1 that you can spend that point. I don't know for sure. I don't know the points of it, but like, I'm sure there's probably somebody that you could sack that way.
I'm sure if you take like 3 Deathbringers, you could just kill 1 for fun.
Yeah.
Just kill 1 for fun. Let's go to the next prayer, since we're trying to kill things. Blood Boil, our beautiful, beautiful one. It used to be on the Slaughter Priest back in the day. Now it is just universal prayer. Goes off on a 4+. Pick an enemy unit with it, visible enemy unit within 18. Roll a dice for each model in the target unit. On a 5+, inflict 1 mortal wound. If the chanting roll was an 8+, you also subtract 1 from wound rolls from attacks made by that unit to the start of your next turn.
Yeah, so it's this. So I was wrong. It's the same, but they added the empowered rider to it. The thing that changed was what you pointed out. It used to just be the Slaughter Priest War Scroll prayer. So now everybody has access to it.
I like having access to a Horde Killer.
Yeah, it's great, especially if you're playing demons. Yep.
You get more off. Like, you get it on the 8, cool. You make my job easier when I go in.
Yep.
Don't see anything. Rich, you got anything, or we want to talk some final acts?
Show me the final acts. Show me the final acts.
Do anything.
What? No, show me the
final act of violence.
Yo, I was getting chocolate.
Right there. It's right on the screen. Yeah, it's right on the screen. Goes on a 4. Pick a friendly unit wholly within 12 inches. Next turn, when a model in this unit is slain by combat attacks, roll a dice. On a 5+, inflict 1 mortal against the attacking unit, obviously after the fight ability is resolved. If the chanting roll is an 8+, you roll 2 dice instead. This was the old Blood Warriors ability.
Mm-hmm.
Now on a stick.
Which was the old All Mortals ability. All Mortals used to have this. And then in 4th, they just gave it to the Blood Warriors. And the Blood Warriors, actually, you got to make 2 rolls for each Blood Warrior.
You always did 2 rolls, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now you have it on a stick.
Yep. It's good. I mean, it's good.
You know what this goes on? It goes on 20 Blood Reavers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
You commit the all-out attack, you just go. You're like, kill me. I want to blow up.
It goes on Blood Reavers. The only problem is that every time that you pray for this, you're not praying to put blood drenched on something. Is the only problem with it. But yeah, it's good.
True.
You're competing with the best prayer is the only problem, but it's good.
Yeah. So we could go with this one, or you could be spicy and go with Soggy lore. Before we really hit it, John, how do you feel about Soggy? Now that this has changed, we talked about the new book.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. I was really disappointed with all the Soggy stuff when they released it. And I mean, my opinion on it, other than Gore Tide, obviously, was great. Instantly, you could recognize that it was really, really good. The Soggy Blood Crushers got a little bit better than the OG Blood Crushers. But overall, I found it really kind of disappointing. I guess was my overall take from the Soggy stuff, and not really too much of a game changer. Even the positive aspect of having Gortide, like I said earlier, you're really just making up for the fact that you no longer had access to Field Sergeant, so it was kind of a side grade.
But before we go over it, my one question then is, compared to pre-book, the Index prayer lore and this prayer lore, would you have chosen between the two? Would you have chosen the Soggy one over the Index one, or were you still be like, I'd rather take the Index one?
I probably still would have taken the Index one, so you could get the added run, because they had Ren Prayer, Holy Flames, I think.
Yeah.
Which was just, I mean, because we're not a high rend army, so Unholy Flames on just even Blood Warriors is huge, but you put it on something like, you get a Boom Thirster into some infantry, and all of a sudden, he's Rend 4. You know what I mean? It's just,
yeah,
you've
got to do some gross stuff. I can see. So I've been a bit different. I really liked the Soggy lore because I think it added very interesting things to Khorne that they didn't have access to. And we'll talk. There was two, and we'll talk about them. We'll start with the first one that I liked. Is Flesh. Goes off on a 3. That's a really cheap prayer. Like when you're sitting on the Blood Throne, that is a 2+. You get this. That's really cool. Unlimited. You pick a friendly unit, Holy Within 12. Until the start of your next turn, ignore the first damage allocated to the target unit in each phase. And if it goes off on an A+, you get to pick 2. That one I really like because of how damage steps work in accordance with demons. So you take a Bloodthirster who has a 4-up armor save. You roll your armor save. Figure out what your damage points are. Now you roll your word saves. So you make a few word saves. Now this kicks in. You just automatically pass one off because you're allocating damage. Well, now you ignore the first one because you haven't allocated it.
Nice. So,
it's good, but I don't think it's as good anymore.
Yeah, compared to... So that's why I asked, John, that's why I asked you the question to pick the index for this. Is like, looking at the book now, I think I would go with the book almost 100% because I like activating my trait. AoE, big horde killing damage, exploding deaths. Like, I like those better than these, but I also really enjoy Gore Flesh. I think that is such a good defensive prayer that is dirt fucking cheap.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. It's a great
good point. Yeah,
it's a great prayer for being 3 points, but it also means that you're less likely to get your big blood drenched off, right? That's kind of where it.
Yeah.
That's kind of where it doesn't quite mesh as well with the new
we're having the back and forth. It's a prayer designed for Bloodthirsters that are just going to go.
Yeah.
Like, you just make it harder to kill Bloodthirster.
I think the problem, no matter what the lore is that we're talking about, if it's the Index, if it's the Soggy, if it's the new one, the problem with all these prayers, and a lot of them are good and viable, or even sneaky good like this one, is that you're just competing with the Blood Drench prayer. That's the big problem.
Next one is Runes of Loathing. Goes off on a 3. Pick a friendly unit, Holy Within 12. Starting next turn, you have a 3-up word against spells, abilities, prayer abilities, and anything in manifestations. And on an 8, you pick 2. That's okay. We don't, like you said earlier, John, we kind of lost a lot of our ignore spell stuff.
Yeah, anti-magic tech. Yep.
Yeah, we lost a lot of that. So this is helpful, but it's not blood drenched. And it's not even Gore Flesh. Like,
right, yeah.
3-up word's cute, but I'd rather just ignore damage, and I'm okay with dying at the time.
Now, in fairness, there are specific situations where this is going to be huge. You're staring
Oh, yeah.
down. You're staring down a primal manifestation Jaws. This looks great.
Yeah, that's fair.
This looks amazing.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
We're on board with that.
There's corner cases where it's OP. Yeah.
Yeah, but like as an add-on to Gore Flash of the Unlimited, I think this is fine. Like I think this prayer lore in a nutshell is fine, but I think that again it runs into that same issue as Gore Flesh does, which is you kind of want some of your units to be dying. Is it really that efficient? Like, granted, you could put it on a Bloodthirster and you're having happy days all the time.
Yeah, I also don't care about a Bloodthirster as a 5-0. I don't care about making it a 3 in very specific instances.
Yeah, I mean, again, but it's an okay thing to add on to Goreflesh, but it's not an okay thing to add on to Goreflesh in this new book because you want things to die, even your own things. There's going to be units like basically, the new book has narrowed the number of units that Rune of Loathing is applicable to.
Yeah, is applicable. Mm-hmm.
So a thing that almost was never cast is now also almost never cast on even less units. Gift of Apoplexy, though.
Yeah, so Gift of Apoplexy, the last prayer in the Scourge of Gyran lore. My personal favorite one, because I think even in this book, this one has some applications to it. Pick an enemy unit, obviously it has to be visible, within 18. Until the start of your next turn, each time the target unit uses an ability that's not move, charge, or fight, you inflict D3 mortals after that ability resolves. And if the chanting roll was an 8+, you inflict 3. Well, just in case you wanted to kill that foot wizard faster.
Oh, yeah. Especially if it's a foot wizard that has more than one cast. Like, oh, I'm sorry, you activated 2 spells? Did you think about rolling twice?
D3?
Yeah.
D6? Or Nagash?
Now.
Look at Nagash and say, please, Nagash, would you like to take 9d3? Or if I got really high on my... Would you like to take 27 mortal wounds for playing the game? In the hero phase? Would you like to do that?
Yeah. No.
It's such a mean one, and it meshes with our new Punish the Pacifist ability. It's like, cool, I'm going to do D3. Did you not get into combat? Cool, I'm going to do another mortal to you. Did I try to unbind the spell that you attempted to cast with my Collar of Content? I'm going to do another D3.
It's also great to put on a shooting
so many
unit.
ways you can make... Yeah, you could just punish the shooting unit for doing...
Yeah. This prayer, probably my favorite prayer that they have.
I wish this one was in the main.
Yeah.
This would be such a good one. I would take it at 4.
Now
I would take this one at a 4.
It does have a minor caveat of the visibility, or in the obscuring GHB. There's obviously going to be times where you're just not going to be able to cast it on the units that you want to cast it on. But then again, there are going to be times where you do get to cast it on that fancy unit and watch as it kills itself for playing the game.
Love that.
I honestly,
falls in.
If it wasn't for Uncontrollable Rage, I think this prayer alone is enough to make me say that the Soggy prayer is fine. But Uncontrollable Rage is just too good.
I always love enabling my battle traits early.
Yeah.
Yep. Especially when we start off none.
All right, we talked enough of all the cool pre-RE building stuff. Now let's talk about the one character that they added that is making the rounds, pissing everybody off in Gore Chosen Champions. We have the Deathbringer. So we lost Aspiring, we lost Exalted. Everyone's been consolidating to a single Deathbringer. Khorne corpos have found out that having interns, team leads don't make any sense. We can just hire the employee normally and put all the responsibility on them.
Poor guy.
Took the corporate ladder right out of us.
He's doing the work, you know. He's doing his best.
Why promote him? He's so good at his job. We just
basically they said nobody orders a small fry. We can't sell super-sized fries anymore because it's a PR nightmare. So let's just make everything a medium fry and make the medium fry bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Yeah, good lord, they make this guy big. So why is this man apparently causing in the AOR Gore Chosen Champion lists? He is a simple foot hero. He moves 6. He moves 5. He has 6 health, 3 up save, control 2. And he has 4 attacks, 3 threes, rend 1, 3 damage. Crit 2 hits. That's pretty good.
Crit 2 hits.
Respectable.
It's a respectable combat foot hero. These
For
are
a
combat
foot hero,
foot
it's
heroes.
respectable.
Reaction, which we have learned in the world of this. This is you get to do this once on a unit, but you can do it 1,000 times across the board.
Oh.
Opponent declares a command for this unit for a unit within 8 inches. Roll a die. On a 5+, the command has no effect, and the command still counts as having been used, and the command point is gone. Ow!
Okay.
What the heck? I barely have command points as it is. Don't tell me I'm not gonna do anything with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the old endless the Doom Sigil or whatever it is. It had the same rule, but you had to roll 2d6 and it was on an 8 up. This is better. This is much better.
This is better, and this is like you can have multiples, and you may not be able to impact the same unit multiple times, but you could just have it go across the board.
Yeah,
like you can hit almost every command ability in the
round. There's very few.
Problem.
There's very few command abilities that don't get impacted by this, but the ones that don't are, I think, the ones that probably shouldn't have gotten impacted by it, and that's like spending a command point to bring back a unit, like
magical intervention.
Or Aether Sea Predators for Soggy Idneth, bringing back a unit for or teleporting a unit for Nighthaunt probably doesn't get impacted by this a lot, just because you're going to be probably more than 8 inches away when you go to teleport. But yeah,
because that ability you can't be in combat. So if you, and then we have a cool ability.
Yep.
Once per turn, army. They limited this one. End of any turn. Killer of Kings. Pick each enemy unit in manifestation in combat with this unit to be a target. Roll 2d6 for each target. If the roll exceeds the target's health characteristic, one model from that unit is slain, or if it is a manifestation, it is automatically destroyed.
This is the silliest ability I've ever seen.
You know what? This man crashes into as much as he can.
Yeah.
And then just starts swinging wild.
This is
he's bringing death.
Ironically, just one of those times where you're like, hey, you know those things that we said about trying to keep an enemy alive, or trying to keep one of my units alive, and it's kind of dumb to do so? This is where he throws it all out the window.
This is the guy.
It says, fuck you, Rich. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, I need to live through till the end of the turn to make sure that I accidentally roll this on 5 foot heroes and kill all of them because they have 6 health.
So that's what I was about to point it out. I was like, this is one of the scariest foot hero killers ever, because you don't even need to be touched. Like, you didn't even have to swing into him. Like, it's not like Butcher's Blade where I get to do damage if I attack you. It's like, no, you're in my combat range. You are ready for death. And I gotta roll a 6 on 2 dice most of the time. That's easy.
Ugh.
And you could kill bigger things. Like, this thing kills Altharion. This kills Sigvald. This kills Gotrek. This kills... like, you're running into most Cav heroes you're picking up.
100%.
You could spike and, like, kill a Knight Draconis if you really want to.
You could spike and kill a Demon Prince. I mean, there's, you know what I mean? There's all kinds of crazy stuff if you roll hot that you could just... Oh, sorry, you're gone.
Vangorian Lord.
At the end of every turn.
Vangorian Lord, yeah.
At the end of every turn you
Thank
get to do
God
this. It's not a once per game. You just keep going.
Which, when you think about it, it's kind of great, too, because even if I never get this off, guys are going to disproportionately target him, right? For fear that that's going to happen, right?
Not just,
so they're going to sink more.
Not just
they're going to sink more
like,
attacks into him.
Man, no wonder Gore Chosen Champion AOR people want to proxy like 8 of them.
Yeah,
Right, because it's like instead of swinging in all these blood warriors, I have to make sure this guy dies. So it's
He
just
could just
it's
kill my
one.
hero, and he didn't.
Yeah,
yeah.
or he could kill my 3 heroes, so I got to make sure he dies right now. Like
Not just that, but like this guy's picking off all sorts of crazy. Like this guy could kill a shark. This guy could kill. This guy could kill.
This man is built to kill.
uh,
He could kill anything he wants.
He could kill
your
all of your
Vanguard
Nurgle
people still played
heroes.
him.
All your Nurgle heroes, your Pusco Blight Lords with 8 wounds, like just the number of. He could kill Severith in one go. I'm pretty sure Severith's only 10 wounds. Like.
Yep, Severus is only 10. Like, this man picks up most things in the game. So fun.
Yeah.
Like, he
Oh,
demands
great.
that you have to deal with him, else he's gonna
Put some respect on his name, man. You got to account for him.
Well, no wonder they fired the Exalted and the Aspired. This man does.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
We have a couple other War Scrolls, few other War Scrolls we want to tackle, and we'll get those really quick on John lists. So I'm going to start with John, though. I had everyone pick a War Scroll that changed, because there was a lot of things that changed in these books.
Oh, you needed
that they think were either impactful, fun, sneaky competitive, whatever. And yeah, John, let's start with you. You picked Blood Reavers. I know we're going to talk probably more in the list aspect about it, but what do you want to cover here before we just kind of lead?
So I picked Blood Reavers for a few reasons. Number one, when I was when the 3rd edition book dropped and I decided I was going to dip my toes into Khorne, I had the original AOS starter just laying around I had nothing to do with, and I had these Blood Reavers. On top of that, in acquiring multiple S2D lots when I was playing S2D, guys would often be like, yeah, I proxied these Blood Reavers for Marauders because the Marauders sculpt is trash. Okay, cool. So through no effort of my own, just by buying S2D lots off of eBay or Marketplace, I had like 60 Blood Reavers laying around. And I'm looking at these guys when I decided I was going to dip my toes in Khorne, and I'm like, you know what? Everybody's got that sculpt that it's not good, but it just does it for you. And I'm looking at them like, dude, these are like Mad Max, like barbarian, dudes. Like, this is so cool. These guys are so cool. They're these half-naked, idiots that and they got the masks and, and I was like, I love the sculpt. I'll never defend it as a good sculpt, but I love the sculpt. And then later on, probably the most fun list I've ever played with Khorne, the most fun, and it was also sneaky good, was towards the tail end of 3rd. I take Korgus Kull, I take 50, 60 Blood Reavers. On my big turn, I declare a Gore Tide, which meant that the Blood Reavers, instead of 1 murder roll, that you got 2 murder rolls. I get them all into combat. They're doing 1 or 2, 3, 4 chip damage to you, and then you lift a unit of 10, and I'm rolling 20 dice, and on 5 ups, you're taking mortal wounds. Okay, so now I've got 5 Blood Tithe, 4 to 6 Blood Tithe, depending on how many Reavers I took, because they all died. But on the way out, they killed a lot of stuff, right? So then, by that turn, I usually wait until about turn 2 to do that. So then, guess what happens? Oh, I've got like 10 Blood Tithe. Guess what I'm going to do? Now that you've killed all these Blood Reavers, I've badly crippled your army just by you killing the Blood Reavers. I'm going to summon 20 Bloodletters. Have fun with that. And on top of that, I had Kull, I had Valkia, I had, I think, Drom. I had all these BS techie heroes. It was crazy MSU on top of the 50 Blood Reavers. And it was just a great time. And so, ironically, even though the Blood Reavers War Scroll has not changed, the reason why I took it is very simple. It's I have a history with the Blood Reavers. I enjoy the sculpt. I've had fun lists with the Blood Reavers. Even though Blood Reavers were garbage, I took 10 of them in my Acon list, and they played their role well in my Acon list. And so they haven't changed. Oh, except for when we look at their battle profile. Oh, these dudes are only 80 points. Oh, they're only 80 points. Oh, look at that. Suddenly, if you run the numbers, I can get 20 of them for $160. And then I can before I want to commit my Blood Warriors or my Skull Reapers or whatever to combat, I just put the Blood Drenched Prayer on them. I yeet them into you, and all of a sudden I've got 41 attacks doing crit mortals for 160 points. And they're extremely points efficient, and with the minimal buffs, like just get the Blood Drenched Prayer off, which is going to be easy to do with the Slaughter Priest because you're going to have +1 enchant, so it goes off on a 3, or you're near the Skull Altar and you get +1 enchant from that. All of a sudden I've got 160 points that is going to do some real damage, and then if they die from the clapback, I get a tithe, and on top of me getting a tithe, I almost certainly killed more than 160 points worth of models with them. So they're just very effective. They're very efficient at what they do, and my prediction, we'll talk about when we get to lists, is you're going to see more and more guys bringing Blood Reapers. And I just to quote Marge Simpson, I just think they're neat.
No, it's a good quote.
Rich, talk Skull Taker to me.
Okay, so I looked through. Connor asked me this morning to come up with a unit that I liked from the book. I didn't realize that he wanted one that changed. Luckily, I picked a unit that did change, so we're fine. We're good.
Most all of them changed. So I think Blood Reavers changed slightly because I don't think they have +1 range.
And they went down.
They had that
too, right?
Oh yeah, that okay. Then it was just Blood Hungry, but it doesn't.
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
So the Skull Taker did change. Skull Taker used to be, it used to be that it had the same hero's bane that you see here, which is pick an enemy hero in combat with this unit, be the target. For the rest of the turn, while the target is in combat with this unit has strikes first, but all its combat attacks must target the enemy hero. That's the same. That didn't change. It's Blood Hungry instead. It used to be crit mortals, and it had the anti-hero +1 rend. What did change is it used to be that each time an enemy hero is slain by this unit, you receive 1 additional blood tithe point. That'd be a little bit OP in this new book, so they took that away. But what they gave us, oh boy, what they gave us. They gave me the most thematically fun set of hero abilities I've seen in a long time. And that is the Eternal Duel at the end of any turn. If an enemy hero had any damage points allocated to it by this unit's combat attacks, and remember, these are 6 attacks, 2s and 3s, rend 3 against heroes, 2 damage. So, like, already we're talking a hot hand of dice that you're rolling there. You heal X to this unit, where X is the number of damage points this unit has. If you deal any damage to any hero, you just heal all of the damage you took that round.
Perfect.
Phenomenal.
Perfect. Beautiful. Yeah.
And then
he's great.
And then to top it off, they're like, "Hey, listen, that's great, but like, what if you could just teleport him next to an enemy hero that fought once per game at the end of the enemy's turn, so that he's standing there staring him square in the eyes until the next fucking fight phase rolls around, where he's then going to get strike first against that man because he's a fucking god." Oh, I love the Skull Taker so much, guys. I don't know if this is the first time I've looked at this model, and like before it was okay, but now it's like, hey, listen, this is a demon with a 4-up save and a 5-up ward, already hot on a little foot hero. We love a 4-up save and a 5-up ward, but to be like, hey, listen,
7 wounds.
Yeah, to be like, hey, listen, I'm gonna summon him into combat with your hero that fought this turn. I hope you're ready that we're gonna fucking duel it out in the next fight phase, because I'm ready. Like,
now that hero's locked up. Now he's locked up. You can't put him where you want.
I mean,
he could have killed whatever he killed in combat.
Yep.
Nice. Thanks for killing that, bro. By the way, hello, I'm here.
Yeah.
Knock.
And that's assuming that it's even going to be the enemy's turn next either. This could be the bottom of 2. Yeah. Your opponent just finished fighting. Their hero's got like 3 wounds left, but he managed to take out the thing, and you're just like, hey, did you ever consider if there was just a Skull Taker next to him? Oh, sorry, you wanted to rally? You wanted to heal? That's going to be tricky there, bud.
Not today, bud. You're fine.
He's great. He was a candidate. If I wasn't so enamored and have such a history with the Blood Reavers, I was going to pick him. So I'm glad you did, because he's hot, cool, man. He's hot.
He's hot. He's got blood hunger. We love it.
Yeah, he's thematic. It's fluffy. It's powerful. It's great. It's everything you want.
The only downside, he's unique, so you can't put like Argath on him to make him like
Yeah. Oh,
just to
Jesus.
really put him over the top.
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't let him have words.
I'm gonna ruin this man's whole career. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh, Connor, are you okay? Oh no, Connor froze.
Oh.
That the thought of Argath on the Skull Taker froze Connor. That's understandable. Like, you know, sometimes you just
I would freeze that.
you would freeze. I was just saying, like if it was, you know, just the idea of Argath on Skull Taker made Connor freeze up. Like, I can't blame him. I'm bricked up thinking about it. Like, I can't.
I'll wrap us up, and then we can get to John's 20 minutes or so. So I picked Skull Reapers. So I'm kind of in a bit where John was, where I love the Skull Reapers. I thought when they first came out, they're so cool. Like Khorne dedicated chosen models, really sick. And they changed in a positive way, I would say. And I think they're a secret contender for Blood Drenched as a target when you reinforce them. So they're 3 wounds. They have a 4-up armor save. That hasn't changed. They move good. All of their weapons, 4 attacks, 4s, 3s, -1/2. They used to be crit mortals, and I know John's sad it's now crit 2 hits. I've heard John say this is I hate it. I don't like that. But they did a very positive change where Trial of Skulls used to be you had to kill something, and then you got +8 to your control score. But if you didn't kill any unit at all, you were treated like a beast. You had a control score of 1. All those models, 1.
It was trash.
It was garbage. Now it is, if you're in combat, you get +8. A single unit of 5, while they're engaged in combat, is worth 14.
Yeah.
That's good. I can wander on an objective that I don't control, step onto it, look at those guys, be like, I'm playing Bloodbound Warlord. I'm going to hit you on 3 now. I'm going to wound you on 3s. I have crit 2 hits, rend 1 true damage. Oh, by the way, I have, I'm 14. You're probably taking an objective away from whoever you crash into. Take a reinforced unit, now you're 19 with 10 guys with 41 attacks. Could be 51, could be 61. With you can go to crit mortals if you want, but when you start stacking those with Wrathmon, other stuff, get your cute bonuses around. I don't even think you need it. Like, you don't need crit mortals when you have 60 attacks, 50 attacks. It's just icing on the cake at that point.
And that's not even talking about, like, getting a Realm Gore Ritualist to give you +1 to wound as well.
Yep, or the Mighty Lord of Khorne giving him 2, because that's what he does now. He just has an aura of +1 to wound for Bloodbound.
So I'll echo all your sentiments. It's all great, and actually, so I was big sad that they lost the crit mortals. Having said that, I listen. There's a reason I teach history and I don't teach math, but I do believe somebody crunched the numbers in the Coach Khorne Discord, and actually they do more damage with the crit 2 hits in most situations. So there's, you know what I mean? I think it would like the guy factor in with like minimal buffs, like you said, like maybe just like a +1 to wound. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, those crit 2 hits are actually going to crank out a lot more damage than they would if they had the crit mortal. So hey, what do I know? I've always liked the Skull Reapers. They're great sculpts, and I think this new War Scroll, I think it's actually pretty great. My only problem with it is that it's not Blood Warriors.
That's fair.
That's fair.
You can't be perfect. Can't be perfect.
Yep.
Can't have it all.
All right.
Yep. Is that a Skull Taker behind your chair? What's going on?
No, this is just a Khorne symbol. I change my background every episode. I'm not allowed to have the same.
Meanwhile, I just have the same messy desk.
Yeah. But as I said before, John, take the last 15 minutes, talk this list. How is this going to work? What you like about it? Why we have the tactics? Let's just crank that out. We'll wrap up today.
Okay, so it's kind of a mixed bag here because although I do like this list a lot, my big problem with it and some of the issues that I'm having with Khorne in general is that even though we've taken up all the war scrolls and we've shaken up all the rules in a huge way, we're still, in my opinion, we're going to see a lot of the same builds that are going to be successful, with the caveat that we're going to see some units that weren't previously included only because of how cheap everything is now. You have more room to take cheap stuff, and in particular, that's kind of the role of the Blood Reavers because they're cheap as chips and they're very effective and efficient with minimal buffs. So, having said that, this list really doesn't deviate too much from the last time that Khorne was kind of doing pretty okay-ish in the meta, which was like 4, 5, 6 months ago, something like that. But I still think it's fun. So basically, at the top, I took a blood. So part of my history with Khorne is I have a love-hate relationships with bloodthirsters. I love bloodthirsters. I own numerous bloodthirsters. I've used them in a lot of lists and had a lot of success. I've used them in a lot of lists and not had any success with them. And e- even with Prize Beast, when it mattered in rounds 4 and 5 at Acon, my dice let me down, and that was hitting on twos and wounding on twos. And I'm no genius, but I basically came to the realization that the problem with Bloodthirsters is you're just not rolling enough dice, and it's really easy to roll badly, and then they whiff, and they're tankier than they've ever been, but they also die easy. So sort of my philosophy has shifted to, instead of like high quality attacks, what if I'm just rolling buckets of dice? What if I'm just rolling buckets of dice? So initially this list had the Mighty Lord of Khorne for the +1 to wound bubble. I still like that. You could probably drop the Blood Secretor and put the Mighty Lord in there, and it's probably a side grade. It might be even be better, but I like the Blood Secretor for that because A, I'm running all mortals, and B, for that go turn, army wide. You love to see it. Army wide +1 attack, +1 attack. That's just it across the board. What that means is the two big blocks of Blood Warriors. At minimum, we're pumping those, 80 attacks, auto wounding. If you get the unlimited prayer off, or it's late enough in the game, you have blood drench. Those are crit mortals. And that's not even factoring in the Wrathmongers that are going to be trailing behind them, to not only give them an extra attack just for being near them, but also, hey, what if we turn Wrathmongers into mini Usharan? What if we had you play a little fun roll-off game with your opponent, and if you win, your opponent has to go, you get to look at your opponent and say, why are you hitting yourself? Okay, so I've got the two big bricks of Blood Warriors. I was tempted to take a brick of Skull Reapers for all the reasons we talked about when we discussed the Skull Reapers, because they're great too. They're cheaper than Blood Warriors, but not by a whole lot. But ultimately, like I said, they're not Blood Warriors. So we talked about Blood Warriors a little bit already. They're just, I think, probably the best unit in the book. They've got the durability to slug it out with anybody. They're extremely hard to shift. And now, when it comes to attacks, they have the Witch Elf profile, only in reverse. Instead of hitting on threes, wounding on fours, they're hitting on fours, wounding on threes. Very easy to remedy that with a lot of buffs, to get them to where they're threes and threes, or maybe even they're threes and twos, which is why I took the Realm War Ritualist. So I'm rolling buckets. So not only with the Blood Warriors am I rolling buckets of dice of attacks, but they're not really low quality attacks at that point. At that point, they're high quality attacks. Even without the crit mortals, it's crit auto wounding. And having recently taken big blocks of witch elves, the crit auto wound is it's great. It's pretty friggin' awesome. So I've got two blocks of those. Those are kind of doing the double duty of not only being my anvils but also being my hammers. I've got the Wrathmongers to trail them, to not only give them the extra attack, but like I said, hey, why are you hitting yourself, right? Cheeky little play. You can, even something like Chosen, you know what I mean? You kill an extra Chosen, by using another Chosen. I mean, it's just fun, and you take them just for the extra attack. They have the fun little roll off is even better. I used to love in S2D taking the Mind Stealer Spearanks because you used to have to do a little cheeky side game like that, you know. So that's why they're there. Now, I took the Slaughter Priest, obviously, so I can nick stuff and wound it when I need something to die, which we'll talk about in a minute. But also just because the +1 to chant, you're getting again the Blood Drenched Prayer. You're getting it on 3s now. I mean, what's not to love about that? We love that. It's amazing. If it wasn't once per army per turn, I probably would have went double slaughters. But I brought along the Realm Gore just because you want 2 priests to at least get 2 cracks at your prayers, especially, you know, like I said, you're probably most of the time just going to double up on the Blood Drenched prayer. So I brought her along, and it, you know, getting that big bubble, marking a big terrain piece, you know, with a big footprint, and getting the +1 to wound. I mean, again, we've got Blood Warriors on 3s and 2s. You know what I mean? Very, very, very easily. And then I have the Blood Reavers. So I've got the 2 160 blocks, and those are there for, well, to be human shields, and also, like I said, they trade up. They trade up very nice. And hey, they still count as 20 on an objective. So you know what I mean. If I get some Blood Warriors in a protracted combat against something that's just as tanky as them and it's not going well, I just park a few of these guys on there, and that, you know, that gets me over the hump. Also, if I don't want to commit the Blood Warriors, I could put the prayers and the buffs on them and get them on crit mortals. And at 41 attacks doing crit mortals, if they charged, it's 1 rend. They're gonna trade up. They're gonna kill stuff. It's just, and, you know, for 160 points, even if they whiff, which, you know, 41 dice, it's hard to whiff completely on. You don't care because it's only 160 points, right? And then I have the specialty, just the 10 block. Now, a lot of guys will take Claws of Karnak here because these guys are going to fill that same role. I took them because they're a little bit cheaper than the Claws of Karnak. And like I said earlier, you want to take the Bloodstoker anyway, right? Because you want to speed everything up, which is why I believe in this list that I take Gortai. I got to double check my work. No, I took Bloodbound Warhorde, but you could take Gortai. I mean, like I said, I'm gonna have to test it out and see which one I like more. I think they're both equally viable. I'll just have to see what I like better. But anyway, you already want to take the Blood Stoker, so I have the Blood Stoker in there because who doesn't love run and charge? So that's just so I can get my Blood Warriors or my 20 blocks of Blood Reavers where I want them to go when I want them to do some damage or hold an objective. But also the tithe problem of I need to get the tithe clock started as soon as possible, preferably top of 1. And so what you do is you nick the Blood Reavers, with the Slaughter Priest, do some damage to them. Maybe you get lucky, you kill 3 of them, right? Then you hit them with the Bloodstoker's ability to give them run and charge. Then you hit them with the Frenzied Taskmaster, do some more. You might do some more damage to them. Then you run them. You auto run them 6, and then you do a Murder Lust and you take more damage. And then they're probably going to get where you want them to go, especially if you're taking Gortide. And there's probably only going to be a handful of them left, and they're going to die, right? And they're gonna die very, very easily. And they're 20 points cheaper than the Claws of Karnak. And actually, just from like a hobby perspective, I'm gonna paint 10 of the 10 block of Blood Reavers. I'm gonna give them I'm gonna make it look so they've got like chrome faces, so they could be like the War Boys from Mad Max Fury Road. Where it's just like witness, and then they just go in and they just go. That's their only job, is just to go in as quickly as possible and just completely get slaughtered. I like the list. Like I said, my biggest problem with it is that it's just not a huge deviation from what was good before. I would just love, because I love Bloodthirster, I would love to it be at least squeeze 1 in. But I'm sorry, I don't see it. I just don't see it at the moment for me personally. And I mean, there's some, there's a play there too where, you could take the Herald, because then you might not even have to put the 10 Blood Reavers into combat between the Slaughter Priest and everything else. You might just basically wipe them out on your own, and ensure that you get that tithe under the right circumstances. So I mean, I like the list. It's a lot of bodies, which is good. It's, even though it's not a lot of MSU, it's a lot of units, right? It's a lot of units. It's a lot of heroes. There's a couple swaps here, like I said, you can make. You could easily take the Secretor out and give the Mighty Lord of Khorne. But like I said, I'm leaning more and more in my own play style to, I just like rolling buckets of dice because the law averages carries across high volume more than it does low volume of attacks, and it nets you better results. So and even though it's not a lot of MSU, it's still, I mean, it's still a ton of units, which unfortunately puts that blood drench even further out of reach. But like I said, you don't really need to hit it. Even if you game towards being able to get it sooner, I don't think it's maybe really even worth it. I don't know. All I know is I can either build my list to try to get to Blood Drench quicker, or I could just take a couple priests and spam the Unlimited Prayer and get it on the units that need it on when they need it on. Now, as far as the tactics go, I'm still figuring out good tactical combinations. I honestly don't like intercept and recover that much, otherwise known as treasures. I might actually swap that one out with my doc. I've been running scouting force and master the paths a lot, but I'm actually going to get away from that even with my doc, because the thing I'm finding is that they complement each other well, the two tactics, which is also kind of a bad thing, because if you're struggling to get your scouting force tactics, because they're so similar to the master of the path tactics, you're going to struggle to get your master of the path tactics too, right? So it's good when you're getting your scouting force and your because then you're going to get your master of the path tactics too, so you're really running away with the score. But if you're struggling with one, you're struggling with both of them. So I kind of just wanted to pair two battle tactics that wanted to do different things, and plus intercept and recover is just fun, and it's really thematic with Khorne. Like I said, I haven't used it much. I'm not 100% sure on it or 100% in love with it, but it's totally different than scouting force, which I think is a good thing. And it's it's Khorne. You want to be, you want to kill the things. You know what I mean? You want to kill the things. For artifacts, so I I really went back and forth about whether or not I just take Argath. I think if I take the Malak, the Mighty Lord, I think then I run Argath, but I really don't want the Secretor. Well, I mean, after he pops his +1 to attacks, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I don't want to have to commit him to count. If you're running a Bloodthirster, if I dropped a bunch of stuff and put a Bloodthirster in, I definitely run Argath. So I just decided to go with Collar of Contempt. Just for all the reasons we talked about Collar of Contempt earlier, hopefully get some chip damage. I get another Unbind because I only have one Slaughter Priest, so I like having that 2 Unbind cushion. We don't have a lot of innate magic, anti-magic tech like we used to, so I think that's important to have. And then Frenzied Taskmaster, again, Khorne, you can't escape it. They may have taken away the old school murder lust, but still, a lot of our abilities are still predicated upon let's do some movement shenanigans. Let's get some extra movement. Let's get some out of phase movement. And I just think it's always you can't go wrong with Taskmaster. It's good in any Khorne force. Honestly, having done this whole cast now. Man, I mean, I've been having a blast with Doc, and I wouldn't take that back. Playing Doc all these months that I have, but man, I'm ready to get some angry boys on the table now, man. I gotta tell you, I'm ready to play,
Hell yeah.
ready to play test this shit and get some reps under my belt. And I mean, I'm sure this list will probably change, but I think this list has some legs for sure. I think it's a decent list.
I love it.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
excited. One thing I want to comment on this list is what you point out is there's a lot of units in here. There's a lot of wounds.
It's wound dense.
It's very wound dense. You're almost. I think you've crossed 150 wounds in this list.
Probably, yeah. I didn't do the math, yeah, but probably it's a lot of meat. It's a lot of meat.
It's 50 from the Blood Reavers, 80 from the Blood Warriors, so that's 130 right there.
Yeah.
Yep. And then it's 30. Right, then it's another 30 from the Wrathmonger. So yeah, you're at 170, 180 in over 11.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
And that's not counting any of the manifestations that you summon that also have wounds. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
They count too.
Yeah.
No, I think this list is really cool.
Yeah, I think it's got some legs, and we didn't really touch on any of the manifestations, but so I called it the Doom Sigil earlier because that's the similar Slave to Darkness one. But the Bleeding Icon, let's give them another way. Let's give them another way so they don't have to worry about this BS tithe timing. Let's just give them a way to where, you know what, you really need to turn off their weapon abilities. You know what I mean? Turn 1 or turn 2 or
roll
whatever.
That 3 up, man.
You roll that 3 up. You got it. You really, hey, you failed both of your prayers to get blood drenched. Okay, here's another crack at it. Oh, you only have 2 priests. Oh, you went 3 units to get blood drenched. Here's a crack to get 3 units with blood drenched. I mean, it's just that one went from like a borderline useless manifestation to the best out of the
everything.
3.
Yeah, it does what you want it to do, which is what blood tithe ability do you not have unlocked that you go nuts?
Exactly.
It lets you stack on your +1 attack stuff.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Now I'm the Wrath Axe has always been trashed, but the Hexscourger scrolls, oh my, how the mighty have fallen. Do we remember, gentlemen? Do we remember back in 3rd?
Oh yeah.
I taunted a lot of people with them when I was playing Khorne in 3rd.
You rolled an 8 to cast. Well, you take D6 mortal wounds and you forget the spell.
Shame.
You forget the spell. You just can't cast that spell for the rest of the game.
I killed many of my friends' wizards with that.
Oh, it was great. I loved the Hexscourger scrolls back in the day. It was beautiful. But yeah, that's the list. I can't wait to try it out now. We'll see. My next GT that I have on the docket is not going to be until Dragonfall. Unfortunately, I can't make Windy City because of softball commitments. But if Doc takes a nerf in the September Battle Scroll, which they probably will, or even if they don't, it's just one of those things where it's just like I can't escape the lure of Khorne. I can't escape them. I might just be bringing the Angry Boys out for Dragonfall. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's a long time between now and then. But I'm leaning towards I'm probably just going to take them. But we'll see what happens. It's a lot of Warhammer in between now and then, so we'll see what happens.
Cool. All right. Well, that is, I think, all we wrote today. We got through a lot of stuff. I think we did do pretty good for 2 hours. John, thank you so much for coming on and joining us for this. This was incredibly insightful having you on here. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. I mean, anytime I always tell everybody, like, I'm not the world's best Khorne, player. I'm not Fabian, but I know a thing or two about a thing or two, and more importantly, I have a high enthusiasm for the Army, and I will talk from the guy that just walked into the FLGS that wants to learn Khorne to the guy that's played a little bit of Khorne. I'm always down to shop, talk shop and run ideas past each other. I love it. I'll talk to anybody about Khorne anytime, anywhere. So, and you guys are great players. You're great hosts on this podcast, and I can't thank you enough for having me on, because this is just really just sitting down, and it's one thing to think about this stuff, but to sit down with 2 like-minded individuals and talk about this stuff for 2+ hours is just a joy. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Pleasure's all mine, man. Thank you. All right. Rich, do you have anything for us?
Listen, there's one thing that I'm going to bring up. I'm not going to go too in depth with it. Maybe I'll talk about it next week.
Okay.
Primal manifestations. Everyone, look into primal manifestations. That's it. I'm not going to tell you why. I'm just going to tell you to do it.
All right. Well, as always, thank you everyone for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe so you know when we post this stuff. We're going to be moving some things over next week. Expect some less low to the ground talk. I think we're going to be a bit up in the sky, flying high. I think we're going to do that. We're going to have some good times there. But as always, I'm Connor, and this was Rich and John. Thank you so much. And blood for the Blood God, skulls for the Skull Throne. Good night, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Peace.
Good night.